How's it going, everybody? Give me 1 second. Still set up a little bit. I know it's a little bit unprofessional, but hey, nah. Oh, what's up, in El Conque? How you doing tonight? As you can see, I am streaming. So honestly, it's probably just gonna be random talks because I don't think I have anything really concrete that I want to talk about, except for creativity and all that. That's good to hear you're doing good. So yeah. So let's see how this goes. So, anyways, yeah, just gonna be a little bit of a random talks kind of stream. I might show off my drawings. I might try to draw a little bit myself. Who knows? Hang on a second. What's up, Jonah Low Fox? What's happening, SSJ Namakaze? How you doing today? Or tonight, really? But But yeah, I'm doing good. All right. So, as you probably saw in my community tab, I was going to talk about like some stuff about creativity, story time, and all that stuff. It's more of an interesting revelation, but I might share a little bit of my backstory and stuff. And oh boy, I know I probably shouldn't be sharing it, but I'm probably gonna spill some tea just because I just want to like kind of just like I don't know put this out there and just be like, man, this is probably hilarious. But yeah. So, anyways, let's see, this week was kind of like my first week back to work and everything. Worked a couple of days. I work at Dunkin' Donuts and all that stuff. Good news is I got a second job now. So now I'm doing DoorDash, which I know delivery jobs like DoorDash and all that or Uber Eats, you probably won't get like a whole lot of money like that per se. But I mean, hey, I mean it's money. Side money. So yeah. So at least that way I can kind of like find another job apart from like Dunkin' and all that stuff. That's how I personally feel. That's awesome. Thanks. Let's see. Now that I'm done with the work for the school year, I have more free time for content. Nice. Yeah, because I was like wondering. Well, but yeah, that'll explain it. School and stuff. Why you don't like post a whole lot. But yeah, definitely looking forward to your Thunderbolts review, man. I can't wait to see you talk about Thunderbolts. I actually saw the movie a few weeks ago. It wasn't bad. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than what I expected. I was like, oh, I mean, I guess it's not that bad, but it's just like, it's all right. Like, it's just a generic, action movie kind of thing, you know? Nice job. My cousin does DoorDash and loves the flexibility. Exactly. That's like what I was trying to aim for because I'm like, you know what I mean? Like you can set your own hours and stuff like that or whatever. And yeah. Then the other week, like I said, I was on vacation and stuff. Um I actually made a video. Well, I made the audio or recorded the audio while I was on vacation. So if I just so happened to put that up instead of just reshooting it, I'm going to probably be talking about TMNT a little bit, like about how Mutant Mayhem 2 got delayed until 2027. It's not really anything that's informal, but it's just me just going on this tangent about like why I just think that Mutant Mayhem Tales of the TMNT thing is such a failed universe. It's just like, bro, like this shit was not good to begin with. But yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, so for my vacation, I went all the way to Maryland and stuff. That's where I'm from. Hung out a little bit with my mom. We went to the mall and stuff. What else did we do? I didn't really have much of a plan. I just kind of wanted to go there and chill because I didn't really have much of a spring break, and um, technically, I kind of considered that my spring break. So yeah, watched her bowl a little bit because she's in a bowling league. She likes to bowl and stuff. Kind of covered that in my little animation thing where I was talking about my how my stepdad got us into like bowling and all that stuff. But yeah, do you play Marvel Rivals? No, no, I do not. And it's not to say I'm not interested. Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested. But I might get a new computer first before I play Rivals because you guys saw me how I played Zenless Zone Zero, and even though I enjoy playing Zenless Zone Zero, you see how like clunky and how like you know what I mean. So I might need a computer with a little bit more data than that and all that stuff, you know? So, yeah, I don't wanna be having those kind of problems with Marvel Rivals, and now I already have, like, a whole lot of, yeah, I've been burned out, so I haven't had the energy to record content. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, but speaking about my stepdad, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. But I'll talk about it quickly though. Um, so ironically, my stepdad a couple of days ago, it was actually his birthday and stuff. So he's about 59 because some of my parents, they're all like the same age because they were born in like 1966. So they're all 59. And then funny enough, my brother and my sister's moms, they're both born in 66 as well. So they're all like born in 59. It's kind of interesting. To me at least. So, anyways, my stepdad turned 59, and let me tell you something about my stepbrother. So, I follow my stepbrother, and keep in mind, my stepdad and my mom are divorced now. I know the term is ex stepdad, but I'm not going to say all that. I'm just going to just say stepdad. Favorite TMNT comic? I can't really say I have one per se, but I will say like most of the stuff from the Archie comics is probably my favorite TMNT stuff. If you play Rivals, you can join me. I mean, Magic and Psylocke. Nice. I need to learn more about Psylocke as a character, though. That's what I do need to do. Because I mean, I know she's definitely been like, there in the '90s and stuff, and I know that she's Betsy Braddock, and she's like this British woman in a Japanese woman's body, and she's like this psychic ninja. But I do need to learn more about her as a character. But yeah, you mean Sonic Archie comics? No, like I meant the TMNT Archie comics. Which it used to come out actually in around the same time, the Sonic Archie comics, because they were both licensed by Archie at the time, like both TMNT and Sonic. But yeah, but TMNT, it was called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, and it was supposed to be like a spin-off of the '87 Turtles and stuff, or not even, well, yeah, a little bit of a spin-off. It was supposed to be like a adaptation just in a comic book thing, but it kind of branched off and became its own thing, like removed from the '87 stuff where it started taking itself a little bit more seriously and adding a bunch of other stuff to the lore, and even like the backstories between um Master Splinter and Shredder is a little bit changed compared to the '87 one, where it's not too far off, but it's a lot more darker in the comic because in the comic, um okay, so in the show, Shredder had he framed Hamato for attempted murder, but in the comics, Orokusaki wanted the Foot Clan, so he basically killed somebody and used Hamato sword and framed him for murder and stuff, and then he got exiled from Japan. So yeah, that just shows you like yeah, the comics in the TMNT Adventures or Archie comics is kind of a little bit different, but I like that tone though. Psylocke is really cool, but in the MCU, I don't want to see her adapted right now. Yeah, they can never really get Psylocke right in movies in general. And I mean, well, I don't know the character like that per se, but I know what you mean because I think she was in X3 as like a villain. Then she was in X-Men Apocalypse where she was working for like what's his face? Apocalypse. And then she's kind of in the background um in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like my aunt was actually just watching that too yesterday on Disney Plus because I got Disney Plus pack and Deadpool Wolverine are on there and stuff. And I was like, oh snap, there's Psylocke. But yeah, but I'm definitely gonna rewatch that movie and probably get it on DVD just because I love getting things on DVDs. The Archie comics, it was way back in the '90s. Like you have Mirage, you have Archie, and you have Image. And Image was like the volume 3 for like Mirage Comics, which it's it's non-canon to the Mirage Comics, but it's kind of based off of that though. But it's in like the Image Comics where like Spawn and Invincible and all of them live in and stuff. So yeah, technically the Turtles also live in there too in that universe. But I guess it's probably a good thing now because the Image Comics and stuff they've gotten pretty weird apart from Spawn. Yeah, they made her a background character or doesn't give her any scenes. Yeah, like she just shows up and just does stuff, but it's like, yeah, I never was a TMNT fan. Yeah. I hope we get another Shadow the Hedgehog game. I will 100% Shadow Generations month, and then just Sonic all the time. I mean, of course, Sonic's like one of my favorite fictional characters, but it's just that, yeah. But I kind of want to see other characters get some like shine and stuff. And Shadow, like especially in power scaling, like when you really think about it inside Sonic X Generations and stuff, Shadow probably kind of surpassed some of the supersonic forms and stuff from back then because he was taking on like Mephiles. He took on freaking Metal Overlord by himself. And remember, Metal Overlord has all the powers of Sonic, all of his friends, uh, Perfect Chaos, all that stuff. And it took Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in their super forms just to beat him. So that's some ridiculous scaling right there, man. So it's just like, yo, that's crazy. But yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying though, my stepdad, like his birthday was a couple of days ago and stuff, right? And funny enough, so I follow his son, my stepbrother, and stuff on Instagram and all that. And I'm not gonna say any names or whatever because of course, yeah, like I'm gonna at least keep it like that kind of respectful, but not like but I'm just gonna refer to him like this as the best of the way I can. So basically my stepbrother is kind of gay and stuff. Yeah, you heard me. And I kind of found that out when I started following him on Instagram and stuff because I haven't seen him in years. And I'm like, oh, okay, these pictures are very questionable, but okay, good for you, I guess. So, anyways, so I see he posted up a picture and stuff, right, of him going to some event or whatever and stuff like that, and it was him and these other people and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. But he put it up on my stepdad's birthday, his biological dad's birthday, and everything. And I was like, damn, that is terrible. Because like I'm like, damn, no picture like and there's no pictures of like his dad or anything like that or anything on his dad's side of the family, like at all. So I don't know what went on between them and stuff. If he like if they're not talking or whatever, they probably are a little bit, but yeah. But it's just the whole thing. And I'm like, yeah. And then I saw in the comments and stuff, he was like, yeah, same time next year and stuff. But then again, I could be tripping and it could just be like a picture that he probably put up like, oh, the day before or something like that. That's a possibility. But I'm like, I don't know. But yeah. Have you ever heard of Orca? Nope. Never really heard of it. Do you like the 2003 Hulk movie? um, I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan of it. To be honest, I saw it like once. Really, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's an interesting movie, definitely. It's weird, and oh my god, that CGI. But nah, yeah, we kind of need like a Hulk like that because he was actually a powerhouse in that movie. Same thing with Incredible Hulk, 2008 and stuff. That was also a pretty good movie too. I actually remember seeing that Incredible Hulk movie back in theaters a long time ago. But the very first Hulk movie from like 2003, yeah, I never saw it in theaters or anything like that. Short term orc or just orc or orca, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, where was I going with this story? So I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like, Jesus, because I'm just going to myself like, man, this must be like karma or something from my stepdad um because I haven't seen my stepdad really until like 2017 and stuff. So that's like, obviously like some years. That was my graduation year and all that. And then I think the next year later, um, him and my mom got like a divorce and all that stuff. And I'm just like, wow, to my surprise, I was like, wait, they actually got a divorce because we personally don't get along. But I'm just like, Jesus, it always feels like they're always like teaming up on me and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But anyways, where was I going with this year with my stepdad? But yeah, but just like man, like he just always had this holier than thou kind of thing, but then all this stuff keeps happening to him. Like, damn, he's not really spending too much time with his son, son, my stepbrother, or even my youngest stepbrother actually, who lives all the way in like Texas and all that, and he lives. I'm not sure if he still lives in like Maryland where we're from, or like moved to like back to like where he was originally from, Pennsylvania, or he had a house in Delaware where his he his mom used to stay at and all that. I hope she's alive, but yeah. So I don't know, but I'm just like Jesus. Well, you kind of brought this on yourself, bro. But that's just how it is. I think the 2003 Hulk is better than Mark Ruffalo Hulk. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. 2003 Hulk was a slow burn, but solid. Slow in some scenes though. I did see it in theaters with my dad. Nice. Yeah, I was probably like 4 when that movie came out. I remember seeing like I didn't see the movie like itself until like um probably last year actually. That's the first time I ever saw that movie like straight up. But I've seen like clips of it online, or I've seen it like somebody watching it on TV or something like that in passing or whatever. But yeah, the fact that I just now realized that they had better CGI, and I'm not just talking about the 2008 Hulk. I'm talking about even 2003 Hulk had better. It was a better CGI model than what's his face. But yeah. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Stefan Hill? What is your favorite Marvel villain? Venom, Red Skull, Whiplash, MODOK, or Thanos? Yeah, well, MODOK is definitely not in those options. I'm going to tell you that right now. But favorite Marvel villain? Can't really say I have one at the well, because it's funny you say that because I was kind of thinking of like my favorite Marvel and DC heroes and stuff. I guess easily number one since I'm more inclined to read Spider Man. Spider Man gets number one. But as far as villains go, let me think because I made a whole list actually, and I got the list like right here in front of my hand. Hang on. Gift ideas. Nope. Hesitation. Oh, what's happening, Doctor Hino? Welcome to the stream. It's the first time I've ever seen you in my stream before. How you doing tonight? And I know I kind of started late, so if this goes on as long as I think it will, man, yeah, I probably will be here until like probably like 12 or something like that. But it is what it is. But speaking of which, that reminds me to say this, so just to remind myself in case I watch this later. But I actually got the house to myself because my family, funny enough, because like I just said, I went to vacation to Maryland a week ago because I'm like, I just got to get away and just like chill and stuff. Maybe it's well deserved. Came back, already did it and all that stuff. So my family here, that I live with and stuff, they're going to Maryland to like to celebrate a friend's birthday and all that stuff over the weekend. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, for the weekend, I at least have the house to myself. So I'm probably going to be chilling and stuff. Probably be out a little bit. Definitely want to get some cleaning done, especially in my cousin's room because oh my god, I'm sorry, my cousin. Like, because we share the same bathroom sometimes or the same, shower and all that. And I got to walk through her room and stuff. And it's like, I'm constantly stepping on stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I got to clean that up. I don't care if, which God, showing some appreciation back to my dudes. Nice. How evil is the Red Skull in Marvel Comics? Well, I mean, for starters, he's a Nazi. So there is that. But let me stop. But let's see. But if I had to say my favorite, let me say Marvel heroes. Oops, wrong page. Okay, Marvel heroes. I would say like just this just comes to mind, but I would say Spider-Man, Daredevil, Captain America, Black Cat. You might as well throw Miles on that list for me. Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, Human Torch, Black Panther, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Deadpool, Elektra, and Hawkeye. Yep. Yeah, that's right. Hawkeye, Clint Barton. Because I mean, I really do like Clint Barton. I think he's actually a pretty interesting character and stuff. I like the circus background because not a lot of heroes really like have a whole lot of circus backgrounds, but like the ones that kind of are a little bit special, like Nightcrawler or Nightwing and stuff, or Deadman, like just to name a few characters. But yeah, but Hawkeye, came from the circus and all that stuff. He learned how to, archery and all that stuff that he had talent for it. etc. Like I remember reading that stuff when I was like when I was a kid because I was like it was covered in Avengers and I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. But too bad that never got adapted though. Black Cat, exactly. You know, you already know, bro. I'm sorry, I cannot with Black Cat. It's because of Spider-Man the animated series and stuff. Jennifer Hale's voice and all that and everything. Like, because the first time I was introduced to Black Cat was when I got this DVD of Spider-Man the animated series. It was Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. So it had episodes that featured Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus, like their first fight in Spider-Man the animated series. And then a few moments, like there was a two-part episode as well in there where it was kind of like the origin of that version of Black Cat where Kingpin kidnapped her dad and then kidnapped Felicia and turned her into like a super soldier and stuff. And then her and Spider Man team up to save her dad and all that stuff. It was a whole thing, but it was pretty cool though. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, but ever since I'm like, bro, I like Black Cat before they decided to give her a girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that is very true. Um, I'm just gonna ignore it though, honestly, about the whole girlfriend thing. And I think they did that in the games too, and that was kind of dumb. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense because I'm like, come on. And I've been reading some stories of Black Cat lately to kind of like better understand her character. And well, I can see she's definitely trouble for Spider-Man and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think she would definitely make a good like plan B or an alternative, but I do feel like she has her own agency and stuff where she can probably get with somebody else apart from just Peter Parker or this whole love triangle between him, Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and so on and so forth. But that's just me. The animated the Amazing Spider-Man animation, Black Cat was so athletic and juicy. Yes, she was, bro. Bro, she was, like, muscle bound and everything. I was like, "Whoa." But, yeah, that's what a super soldier looks like, not whatever that crap they tried doing in What If, where they, like, made, I almost said Black Widow, where they made, Peggy Carter into a super soldier, and they made her, like, butch and everything and, like, so masculine, and I'm like and gave her, like, them broad shoulders and stuff. I'm like, "That's not what a female super soldier would look like, though." But, yeah. But it is what it is. But as far as villains go, I can't really think of any at the moment. I did have, yeah, like I said, I had a list, but oh well. I did see Alyssa the cat. She's this YouTuber I follow and stuff. We used to talk about that Larry Hughes stuff back then. I saw her video about Larry Hughes and all that. I didn't leave a comment on there. I kind of was like, well, I'll probably do it later, and then I just put it off and just forgot. Um, out of laziness and stuff, a little bit, that kind of thing. But I kinda do feel like she should probably take a break on talking about Larry Hughes because I just feel like that's all her channel is really just talking about Larry Hughes, and it's no shade at me like that I'm trying to throw at her or anything like that, so if she sees this, not trying to start any drama or anything, but I just feel like it's probably just healthy to move on from Larry Hughes, like, we talked our crap about him and all that other stuff, um, and it is what it is. I'm not trying to, like, destroy him or anything like that. I'm like, if he's on TikTok or whatever and he's still talking his crap about me, it is what it is, but yeah, but what it is what it ain't. But yeah, but it was a pretty nice video though. But eh, her choice is her choice. But I will say though, in her video, I was kind of like, because she said Amy and Sally from Sonic, Sally Acorn and Amy Rose are both best friends. I mean, I will point out that they are friends in the Archie comics because that's the only time we ever really get them. That's like in the same room because when you really think about it, in like cartoons and stuff, Amy and Sally are in almost nothing else apart from the comics. So that's the only thing we can really go off of as the closest thing to their relationship and stuff as like friends. And yeah, they're good friends, but I wouldn't really call them best friends though. That's like I'm like nah. Sally's best friend would be like Bunny Rabbit or D Colette or Nicole the Lynx and stuff. And Amy's best friends would be like Big the Cat, Blaze the Cat, or Cream the Rabbit and stuff. Yeah, those are their best friends, but nah, they're cool and stuff. But yeah, but that's all I wanted to say there. Let's see. I also saw Rebel Moon a couple of weeks ago too. Rebel Moon wasn't half bad. I actually took some notes about it actually today. Just because I wanted to talk about this stream. Larry Hughes the third is a moron. There's no point in dealing with him. Exactly. I know. I'm like, I know. I mean, I hope he gets better or whatever, but I'm just like, dude, yeah, I'm like, you're just wasting your energy. Like even Sonic Rush, like Sonic Rush don't really be talking about Larry Hughes like that a whole lot. I mean, I think he does kind of talk to Larry himself personally, but anyway, it might take some jabs at him here and there, but he don't really like talk about Larry like that anymore either, and kind of just does his own thing. So that's always nice. But yeah, but for Rebel Moon, I didn't think it was half bad. I mean, being like a rejected like Star Wars script and all that, retooled into something original. So I kind of do like that kind of like creativity and stuff. Like it's definitely like for me, Rebel Moon is definitely like a rated R version of like Force Awakens when you really think about it. Basically, where it kind of opens up with that soldier kid who gets drafted after like his family is killed and stuff, kind of similar to like I almost said Poe. Finn from the sequel trilogy. That's how terribly done they've done Finn. But just like Finn and stuff. But then they don't focus on that character, which I would have loved if they focused on him and him trying to get revenge or something like that for his family against the guy. I think that would have been a better story than what they went for in Rebel Moon, where oh, there's this chick named Cora and stuff who also used to be a part of it, but then left and moved to this village and stuff. Um, whatever, I guess. And then the village gets attacked by that same like faction thing that's kind of like the Empire, and she tries to find like other people and stuff to like recruit for her cause to fight against them and stuff because you know like yeah they kill one of the guys and they don't really have much of a choice now at this point to conform to like oh well we got to conform to them or be subjugated or they're gonna walk all over us and stuff like that. So yeah, Rebel Moon is definitely a rated R movie, man. Um, or at least like the extended cut, obviously, and that's what I watched was the extended cut. I didn't watch the like cut version. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like it would definitely be a lot better too if they like toned it down on the sex stuff and the sexual violence. And I don't mind sex being in like some movies and stuff. Cause I mean if you watch like some of those John Claude Van Damme movies and shit and stuff where yeah, like in Bloodsport or something or Lionheart and stuff. Oh my god. John Claude Van Damme, bro, you probably see him almost like pretty much a little bit naked and stuff, and the girl next to him and all that that he just had sex with and shit like that. Yeah, I can deal with that, but the stuff in Rebel Moon with all that sexual stuff, I'm like, all right, you don't got to do all this where you got the village and stuff. Everybody's having orgies and stuff, and they're as like their kind of tradition or ritual that weird brothel scene or whatever. You could have just turned that into a bar. That didn't have to be a bar brothel where the guy gets hit on by that disgusting looking alien and stuff, and he's like, "You're gonna be my bitch" and stuff. I'm like, okay, okay. And then oh god, that weird ass scene with the tentacles and stuff. I'm like, bro, did you really have to do that with the villain and stuff? Like, I'm like that. That's like, okay, you're just telling me the villain's fetish. I'm like, you could have done something else to kind of characterize the villain and stuff, in my opinion. Like, um, like let me take Geese Howard for example. Like Geese Howard from King of Fighters and stuff. Geese Howard, like he's evil as hell, bro. Like he killed the main character, Terry and Andy's dad, Jeff Bogart, and all that stuff because you know they used to be like students together and stuff, and they used to be rivals, and he killed him out of cold blood. And Geese Howard, hell, Geese Howard is so fucking bad that he abandoned his own son too, Rock Howard. He was like his son Rock Howard, like came to his dad and stuff because you know he just found out oh you're Geese Howard, you're my real dad, you're my real biological dad. He's like yeah, well my mom's sick and she needs help. Okay, I'm not gonna help her. Go back to her. And then his mom died and Rock hated Geese so his own son hated him for that. There are ways you can make a villain evil and stuff and also give him like subtle like hobbies and stuff because Geese has hobbies like, if you notice, like, he feeds fish and like, he has, like, a pond of fish that he likes to feed or something. I think he was doing that inside that, Fatal Fury anime and stuff, or, like, what else was Geese doing? Or, like, sometimes he'll be, like, in his office in the big tower and stuff, like, smoking a cigar, got his feet up in his fancy suit, like, stuff like that. That's what you could have done with that villain than that weird tentacle stuff, especially I don't wanna see that on no naked man. That's kinda weird, bro. But, yeah. Fantastic Four would be awful. Oh yeah, I bet. Well, yeah, yeah. I think it would be honestly, at best, it might be average, but yeah, it's not really looking all that good with the casting and stuff. Vanessa Kirby looks great, but and the character model for the thing, well, I think it kind of varies. It's weird, but yeah. But Johnny Storm, the guy playing him, what is his name, Jack Quinn or whatever? Yeah, nah, he don't look like he don't really look like a really like yeah attractive Johnny Storm or anything like that. And then yeah, Pedro Pascal is a complete miscast. Like come on, did with his funny looking mustache and he's like, oh man, he's not white or and all that stuff. It's like, come on, bro. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, and I know you know this SSJ. Um, how like Pedro Pascal did that thing that he did last week where he looked at Rod on camera and stuff. Like it was like, you know what? I was like, bro, this is the guy they chose to be Mr. Fantastic. I mean, I know they had other options and they could have and really to save yourself the trouble, they could have just went with the guy from Multiverse of Madness because everybody was like, "Oh shit, this guy looks like Mr. Fantastic." And I thought, yeah, he was perfect. Honestly, I was like, "Yo, that guy needs to be Mr. Fantastic in the next Fantastic Four movie. That would be perfect." But no, instead they just said, "Fuck that." And well, no, they were actually going to go with it. My bad. But what they did was, I don't think he liked the script. And sometimes for actors and stuff, they when some actors like read scripts and stuff like that, and they're like, "What the hell? You want me to do this in front of a camera where this will be recorded and immortalized in history and all that? Hell no, I'm not doing this." You know what I mean? So a lot of guys turned it down and stuff like that, and I think it might have something to do with like Invisible Woman probably cucking Mr. Fantastic and all that. That's why it got like so many guys turned it down, but Pedro Pascal, like, accept that he probably is. He probably took that role and was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Why? But yeah. Oh wait, hang on. Did I read SSJ's thing? Yeah, Pedro Pascal comes off on the sweet and low. Yeah, I'm gonna start saying that because I like how you say it. Yeah, he be on the sweet and low because yeah, that shit is kind of funny. Yeah, he is. David Tennant was the other choice for Reed. I think he would have been perfect. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Common sense isn't a strong suit. Yeah, not in this day and age. David Tennant was killed on Jessica Jones. Oh, yeah, yeah, he definitely could have pulled off Mr. Fantastic. And hell, I mean, they're already reusing actors anyways from Netflix. I mean, you see how they got Mahershala Ali for like who played Cottonmouth from Luke Cage and stuff. They got him playing Blade, but I mean, they're probably not even gonna put out that Blade movie and stuff. So yeah, that kind of sucks. What was that though? Oh yeah, I was talking about Snyder. So yeah. Yo, what's happening? Fierce empathetic Black Queen Taylor. How's it going? It's been quite a while. But yeah, hope you're having a good night and all that stuff. But yeah, got the house to myself. Doing this live stream and stuff. I know it's been a while since I've done a live stream, but yeah. But here I am. So I'll be here for a while, and I'll probably live stream tomorrow too. Actually, I might actually talk about some Superman stuff. There and just yeah, not about the James Gunn Superman stuff, but just at least a little bit. I might bring it up, but I'm going to talk about mostly the perception about the character Superman because a lot of people don't think, oh, well, Superman can't work as a dark character. He has to be hopeful, optimistic, and bright. And I'm reading some of these stories and stuff. I'm like from the 80s, like I'm talking like from the 80s to the 90s and stuff. I'm like, wow, this shit is fucked up, man. or this is not something that most people probably wouldn't know if you know what I mean, or don't think about when you're like, oh, with Superman and stuff. So that's how I kind of feel. Do you have a favorite Disney movie? Also, what is your thoughts on Walter Disney? Don't really have an opinion on Walter Disney and favorite Disney movie. There's a part of me that wants to say Milan. I remember my nana said a few years ago that back when I was a kid, I used to watch Beauty and the Beast a lot, probably because I like Beast. So yeah, but yeah, because I thought Beast was cool and stuff. I was like, oh, he's the big dude, and yeah, like yeah, and he's like wolf like and everything. Or he comes off looking like a wolf and everything, and I. because I call myself the Jonah Little Fox. So yeah, but yeah, those are some yeah out there. And if you want to count like maybe what Pixar or something, yeah, Zootopia probably. But yeah, you seen King of the Hill revival opening? Oh, I didn't even know King of the Hill was having a revival. Yeah, sweet and low is funny phrase. Exactly. Because yeah, I'm like, yeah, I remember back in the day we used to say like, yeah, you sweet for it and all that stuff, you know. Like back when I was in like middle school and stuff, be like, man, you sweet, sweet for it. You know what I mean? Like that was another way of saying gay, but sweet and low, like you're on that fake sugar type shit. Happy Friday stream. Happy Friday stream. I can't wait for your dark Superman take. I think the darker stories. No, it's not about me making like a dark Superman story or anything or like fan fiction. No, I'm going to talk about storylines that I've read from Superman that I'm like, wow, that shit is fucked up, or I like you would not expect because like when people say Superman is an optimistic character and stuff, or he's a hopeful character, you got to realize that hope definitely does come from like bad moments or from the darkness or whatever. It's a long story, but you'll get what I mean when I do the stream. But I was like, man, I mean, what's the constellation prize to this? Or well, at least it could have been worse. It could have been like something could have happened to us and not another universe or something like that. Mulan is my favorite Disney movie. The first one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first one definitely. Well, yeah, obviously that's what we're talking about. The second one, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, but it's kind of hard to even say Mulan because of that live action movie. But yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Hercules too. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and that version of Hercules was kind of also based off of like Superman too. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, but yeah, it is kind of a shame though about Rebel Moon. How like hang on, excuse me, how like I guess it's not doing too well or whatever. So Zack Snyder, yeah. So I guess Zack Snyder's moving on to other stuff. But a lot of people are just preying on his downfall and stuff. I'm like, Jesus, like, do you guys really hate Zack Snyder that much or whatever? I mean, I know some people probably not be may not be a huge fan of his movies, but it's not like he's a really problematic person or anything like that or whatever, or he's like giving anyone besides maybe geeks and gamers like ammunition to be like, oh well, I just don't like Zack Snyder or I hate that guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because his movies definitely are unique and they can definitely make a statement. They may not have the best story in the world, but it definitely gives you that kind of feeling like sometimes masculinity a little bit, which come on, in this day and age, we're gonna need some masculinity, especially from some movies and stuff. And it will be some kind of experience. That's for sure. And I would definitely take Rebel Moon any day. Like that rejected R-rated Star Wars thing. I would take that any day over the stuff that Disney has put out, like Skeleton Crew. Completely forgot about that. I was like, this shit does not look anything like Star Wars. I'll take it over Andor. I heard Andor was okay or whatever. It was average, but I don't care for Andor. Um, the sequel trilogy, it's automatically better than any of the sequel movies we know. That's for sure. Mandalorian season three. I, I can't say yeah. I mean, I might say yeah. Mandalorian season one and two might be better. I haven't seen season two yet of Mandalorian. I've seen season one, but yeah, I'll say Mandalorian was better than Rebel Moon. But season three, I saw the clips online. Like, God, that editing and stuff, like what they did with Grogu, and what else did they do in season three? And they had freaking Lizzo and Jack Black in there and all that. I was like, what the hell? And I was just watching like Star Wars theory and stuff, and he was saying like about George Lucas that he never like George Lucas doesn't like to cast like high profile actors to play his characters and stuff because it kind of just it takes you out of the immersion and stuff, you know? Because there was people like Tupac and Michael Jackson that wanted to be involved in Star Wars, and George Lucas was like, "Hell no, 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 just no." Okay, I just want this to be for me, and if it blows up, it blows up. It is what it is. But yeah, Zack Snyder is overhated. I like Man of Steel. Didn't like BVS, but loved his Justice League. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the man is like completely overhated. I'm just like Jesus Christ. Like what do you guys got against the guy so badly? BVS. I didn't. I know. I mean, I know you don't like BVS too much like that SSJ, but it's not a bad movie. It's like yeah, it has its problems, and yeah, I will agree. Like it definitely like when I first saw like the trailers and stuff for it, and I was like, wait, Doomsday, Wonder Woman, like what are they doing in this movie and stuff? But to be honest with you. when you really think about it, BVS is better than most superhero movies that we get, especially in this day and age. But even then, like like I said, I'm not even sure if I said like when did I say this? I think in my Superman video. Yeah, I said that BVS is honestly better than like most of the stuff that came out after like phase two of Marvel. Pretty much, like there's like really no Marvel movies like that that can really compete with BVS in my opinion, at least in terms of like, yeah, well, I'd probably rather watch this because solid acting moment that or solid, yeah, or good scene here and all that stuff, or yeah, his choices are odd, but he was better than anything else in the DC tried. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you saw what we got after like Aquaman and stuff. We got like we got like Birds of Prey and stuff. We got freaking Birds of Prey and all that crap. Wonder Woman 1984. I was like, why are you going back in time to 1984 for Wonder Woman? Why don't you just go on forward to present day? No, okay, we're gonna do this with Maxwell Lord and Pedro Pascal was Maxwell Lord too. So yeah, it was weird. I like Bad Affleck. He was great in BVS, but that's all I give it. Yeah, yeah, he was great. And hell, even in that David Ayer Suicide Squad for that brief moment he showed up, like I like that scene where like Batman shows up in front of Deadshot and like he pulls Deadshot to a side and is about to fight him, but he's like, I don't want to do this in front of your daughter. And they square up and all that. Yeah, I like that scene. Yeah, I disagree with that take, but to each their own. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel. But I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather take that than half the stuff, yeah, or at least some new content or a reboot of something that was already like made back in like the 80s or 90s that they're just trying to like, oh, look, it's a reboot or a sequel, like Terminator Dark Fate or something like that. But yeah, and then on top of that, speaking about Warner Brothers and all that, Mortal Kombat 1, another random subject here, but it seems like Mortal Kombat 1 isn't doing too hot. Yep, that's right. Mortal Kombat 1. We're gonna talk about that. No, I've never played Mortal Kombat 1. I haven't bought it. I watched all the cutscenes online because after I played Mortal Kombat 11, I spent so much money on the DLC stuff. Um, for like a fighting game and stuff, I was kind of just like, this is where I kind of realized, you know what? This is where we're at. Where we're at with when it comes to fighting games, because I'm just like, or at least with Mortal Kombat, I was like, all right, the next Mortal Kombat game I am not buying after that Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate thing. And it's not like not to say that there wasn't any good there too with either 11 or 1, but it's just like, yeah, but we've had it better though, or we've had a lot more content than what they would just, put behind a paywall or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, although the graphics and guest characters aren't helping. Yeah, it's really not. And honestly, as far as like DLC characters go, here's what I would probably do is if you're gonna do guest characters, at least make the guest characters DLCs, but don't make the Mortal Kombat characters DLCs and stuff. And then on top of that, Mortal Kombat 1 relies a lot on like nostalgia and stuff too. So they're like, oh yeah, remember Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and Mortal Kombat 1? Remember how cool that was? Well, we're gonna do it again. Why? I mean, Mortal Kombat 9 was kind of a reboot of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, and X was kind of its own thing, but it was like a retool of Mortal Kombat 4 a little bit. And then we get MK11 where that was nothing but time travel and mirror matches and all that stuff. And mirror matches, it used to be cool, but now it's kind of like, all right, it's getting played out, or the dark counterpart trope. Yeah, Mortal Kombat played that one out with the whole Revenant stuff, especially like Remnant Liu Kang and stuff. It was like, bro, I'd rather go back to like Zombie Liu Kang or something like that. MK9 had better time travel storyline. Yeah, it did. It did. Like at least when they got to that whole part about Sindel killing everybody, that's kind of where they fumbled it because I think they killed them off because they were like, oh look, some of these characters aren't that popular like Striker and stuff or Cabal, even though they blew up later on in popularity and when Mortal Kombat 9 came out and stuff. Yeah, but why kill them off? Like that was just dumb. But okay, MK1 was a waste. It should have been Injustice 3. Ooh, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too about Injustice 3. in person myself, I kind of don't really want an Injustice 3 either. I know a lot of people are asking for an Injustice 3 and stuff, but me personally, I don't even want an Injustice 3. And I'm not saying that NetherRealm can't do anything, but here's what I would personally want is I would kind of want them to how do I put this? I would want another Mortal Kombat versus DC, like a Mortal Kombat versus DC 2. That's what they can probably do for me and stuff. And I'm just saying, and go back to like, and no overcomplicated outfits and stuff like that. No, oh, corrupted heroes like they did in Justice, because it got, to me, that's what really played out with the whole evil Superman, evil Wonder Woman, and all that stuff, kind of destroyed those characters and all that. So that's just how I feel. But I think, yeah, like definitely go for a Mortal Kombat versus DC and all that, like, too. I think that would be awesome. And I know a lot of people weren't really feeling it back then because they censored the fatalities and all that stuff. But I mean, I'd rather take that because it had some good gameplay and stuff like that back then. And it was fun to play, you know? Story, the story wasn't really all that, but it wasn't half bad, but they can kind of do something with that or make it into a movie and stuff. I think that would be even cooler. And it is owned by what's his face, by Warner Brothers too, because they've been doing those like animated Mortal Kombat movies and all that stuff and those animated DC movies. So why not, combine the two? I think that would be pretty cool. I didn't like Mortal Kombat CC's controls. Sucks. Yeah, I'd rather play Injustice. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, the first Injustice was good. The second one was okay, but yeah, like I said, I'm just tired of Injustice, honestly. Because, like, I mean, the comics, with the Injustice comics, it was interesting, but eh. And then the game itself and all that stuff, it, like I said, did no favors for Superman or Wonder Woman as characters. Um, and then they did that Injustice movie and stuff, which that felt pointless and stuff. I highly doubt a lot of people really remember it like that. It like has so much problems with that. So yeah. So that's just how I feel in that. But yeah, but MK1 story, I'm gonna just talk about that real quick. I didn't hate it per se. I thought it was all right. Like when you think about it, aside from the multiverse stuff and all that, and that's also a trope Mortal Kombat gotta get away from because all that time travel multiverse stuff, it's getting too convoluted. And I'm like, look, it can exist, but you don't have to acknowledge it. It can just give me a self-contained story and all that stuff because some of that stuff was like, oh, Johnny Cage and Kenshi bonding and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Some of the ideas that they had in like the MK1 endings and stuff where these were all kind of canon, but that was actually pretty cool too. But all that, like, yeah, but it's just them trying to do all that stuff and then chaos reigns and stuff. Like nah. But yeah, Mortal Kombat vs DC is my introduction to Mortal Kombat. Nice. Speaking of which, Mortal Kombat versus DC actually was like it was actually the Mortal Kombat 8 when you really think about it. Yeah, it is technically the unofficial but official Mortal Kombat 8 because you got Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. Then you have Mortal Kombat 4. Then Mortal Kombat 5 is Deadly Alliance, and then 6 is Deception. And then after Deception is Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which is 7, right? So then I kind of thought to myself, so wait, what is Mortal Kombat 8 then? And Mortal Kombat versus DC can't be it, but yeah, they counted it as 8. So from there it's 8 and then 9 and then, X and 11. So yeah. So that's just how it is. But yep. But yeah, but the way how I looked at it though, I didn't mind some of the changes because it kind of reminded me of like the ultimate Marvel Comics universe, like Earth 1610, where it's a more of a modern take on like Marvel Comics and stuff. Like it's its own thing and all that stuff and all that but some origins are kind of changed around a little bit or simplified. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about Mortal Kombat 1, the new one and stuff. Like when you look at it like that, oh, Sub Zero and Scorpion are brothers, or well, really, it's Kuai Liang and Bihan and stuff that are brothers. But I didn't like how they just went back to just turning Bihan into just generic, generically evil, even though he was like he had a little bit more nuance than that as a character before they turned him into Noob Saibot. Then they turned him into Noob Saibot. He got beat up a lot. It's a whole thing, but yeah. but that was just kind of dumb. And then they turned him into Noob Saibot again for whatever reason instead of just keeping him as Sub Zero. But okay, but yeah, but let's see what else. Um, Doctor Hino, since you're here, you might like this next subject. This next subject that I got in mind. And you're probably wondering what exactly is that next subject. Well, I'm going to be talking about Andy Shankar. Yep, that's right, Andy Shankar. Um, and I think something that he had kind of just said recently in an interview. Now, I didn't watch the interview, so I could be just kind of talking out of my ass here. But basically, Andy Shankar said that he kind of wanted to be the one to bring back Devil May Cry and stuff. So he was jealous of Devil May Cry 5 because they beat him to the punch because he wanted to be like that one to like revive a dead franchise and stuff like that. Mortal Kombat versus DC, Sonya Blade, I remember that well. Yeah. Yeah, she definitely had a good outfit. And I liked her hairstyle too, but I'm not, yeah, a huge Sonya fan because of how NetherRealm treated Sonya, like from like, yeah, it's a whole thing from X to 11. No, please, no, not that weirdo. Oh yeah, we're going there. So Andy Shankar, yeah, man, he has said like he wanted to like be the one to like bring quote unquote a dead franchise back. Oh yeah, SSJ, this is probably gonna be your favorite subject too, because you're also a Devil May Cry fan, and we did that, we did that video and stuff together. So he said on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on an Instagram thing, or I say Instagram, in an interview where he wanted to bring back Devil May Cry. He wanted to be that guy to bring Devil May Cry back to like what it was or whatever. What he considered a dead franchise until Devil May Cry 5 came out. And I'm like, then if you had the opportunity to do a Devil May Cry show, you should have just put out Devil May Cry like at the around the same time as Devil May Cry 5. I mean, I don't care if it was going to be bad or not, but I would have preferred like him just to put out the show around because here it just feels a little awkward to put out Devil May Cry 5. I mean, not 5, put out that Netflix Devil May Cry show after Devil May Cry 5 because it just feels like a random just time to just shoehorn in Devil May Cry and no follow up through it, no spin-off comics, no video game, nothing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, come on. You can do a little bit more than just that. Yeah, we'll have a collab on season 2 when that comes out. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's definitely gonna be fun. Man. Yeah, 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 yeah. He made, DMC Reboot a better option. I wouldn't really say that. I mean, the reboot, I kinda consider the reboot to kinda be its own thing. I wouldn't say, like, the reboot is, like, faithful to Devil May Cry like that, but I do like the reboot though to myself, like as his own thing. It's just that those characters aren't really they don't resemble those same characters. But the Netflix, I do think me personally, it's a little bit more better and stuff because it is kind of like that. But yeah, they did make a lot of fundamental change, and it's really those two things that piss me off the most, like the whole uplifting lady and stuff and all that stuff, and the more focus on her than Dante. That just pissed me off. And then, well, especially how they treated Dante in the end, where he got captured by Lady and stuff, and now he's put on ice so that the scientist or whatever can study him. I'm like, did you not learn anything from this whole adventure, like at all? That the whole reason you're in this situation to begin with was because you were after Dante's necklace and stuff, and that the White Rabbit did all this bullshit. Okay, okay. And then what really pissed me off was that political crap that they did with the Palestinian stuff. And you kind of saw my crash out in my review where I was like, I can't believe they fucking did that. They fucking did that, man, with the Palestinians and stuff. And look, I would have been okay with, okay, maybe a few sympathetic demons and stuff, but to make that an entire plot point and stuff like they did and all that stuff and do that weird ass Cal Arts episode with Lady and stuff, I was like, bro, what are you doing? This is not Devil May Cry, man. Yeah, we should have gotten Devil May Cry 6 by now. Yeah, that would have been cool. I'm not sure if you'll like my idea for Devil May Cry 6. Well, I don't have an idea per se, but it's just more so like I think going forwards, I think Devil May Cry should probably focus on like Nero, in my opinion, than Dante. And I'm not saying Dante can't be a part of it, but maybe like keep probably don't have to be a like a part of the story per se, but maybe like a playable character or something like that, or like, oh, he's got his own thing going on in like hell or something like that, or whatever, or his own side mission. That's how I feel. But Nero, I feel like should take more prominence since he was kind of like, oh, that new passing of the torch. So that's just my opinion. Now that reboot was a stain on the series. I would say this. It's kind of like the black sheep of the family, the reboot, or like it's like yeah, like a black sheep or like I don't know. I was talking about my stepdad earlier, so kinda like the ugly like, just treated like the ugly stepchild or something like that. Yeah, I'm done with DMC though. Ouch. Honestly, I mean, just like you, I would probably just go back to just, like, playing the games or something like that, the old games versus, like, stuff going forwards versus the stuff yeah, that's just how I would have gone about it. Feminist agenda with Lady. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Let's feel bad for the literal demons. Yeah, yeah, and that's crazy too how they compared, Palestinians to actual demons. Yeah, that was very smart. Yeah, they should have made it more like Inuyasha. Yeah, that could have been cool too. Yeah, 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 you're right, like Inuyasha because, like, there are definitely some good demons in Inuyasha and stuff, you know? But yeah, but vast majority, there are some evil ass demons inside Inuyasha. Nero and Lucia for Devil May Cry 6. Yeah, yeah, Lucia she definitely needs to come back because I'm like, man, in Devil May Cry 5, everybody came back besides Lucia, which is crazy. No, I'm tired of all these new young characters. Dante still has stories to tell. I mean, does he though? I mean, because Dante's ever since Devil May Cry 1, really, Dante's pretty much completed his arc. And I'm not saying I don't want to ever see Dante again, but I'm just saying like he already completed his arc of like defeating Mundus and avenging his mom and his brother and all that other stuff. So I don't really see what more you can really do with Dante and stuff. And then from like Devil May Cry 2, 3, is a prequel, but yeah, 2 and 4, Dante is already like powerful enough where he can just beat most of his competition like it's nobody's business. And he's already defeated like some of the top demon lords effortlessly. So there is that too. So yeah. But I'm not saying like yeah, but I'm just saying though, like yeah, I would rather kind of focus a little bit more on Nero and stuff. And yeah, Lucia definitely, yeah, she needs to come back. Even Capcom said in the past they kind of made Nero on a whim. He didn't need to exist. Maybe not, but it's kind of like SSG. I'm pretty sure you've played Metal Gear Solid. It's kind of like, and I'm thinking about. I know I've been saying this for at least a year now, but I've been having this idea about making a video talking about like successors and stuff about certain characters and all that. But I'll make it when I make it. But but yeah, but like take Metal Gear Solid, right? You have a character like Raiden, where Raiden didn't exactly have the best reception in Metal Gear Solid 2 because I think the commercials had kind of like um at the time had kind of led people to believe that oh you're going to be playing a Solid Snake with this new design and everything. And that was kind of a bait and switch because you played as him for about a small window of time on the tanker incident and then for the rest of the game you're playing as like Raiden and all that. And it's like, but I wanted to play as Snake. Why am I playing as this new guy, Raiden and stuff? And Raiden's not a bad character, but yeah. And then when I almost said Don't Make Cry 4, when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and you saw Raiden back with the whole cyborg thing and all that stuff, you're like, oh shit. And I'm playing as old Snake, man. Raiden needs his own game. And then you saw Metal Gear Rising, and everybody was like, oh my god, they need to make a second Metal Gear Rising game. And they still need to do that, though. They still need to do a second Metal Gear Rising game, man. But yeah, it's the same thing with Nero, where yeah, and funny enough, Nero's a cyborg too, and stuff, and got other stuff that Dante just doesn't got, or a little bit more stories to tell. Oh, good, YouTube betrayed me with the stream notification. Hey, what's up, Ashes? Yeah, I was kind of just yeah, I'm just now remember I was well, no homo, but I was kind of actually thinking about you earlier because I'm like I know he's in a whole completely different time zone from me, like 12 hours and stuff. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, you should definitely be awake by now. Lucia can just be a cameo. Nope, nope. I did not want to know Lucia has no cameo. She got to be in the damn game, okay, or at least a playable character, something. Okay, she got to be in the story. Lucia could be a cameo this day and age. She would just be. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. If you're talking about for that Netflix show, well, I mean, I really wanna say take a chance and just, you know, be surgical about it, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because, I mean, some characters on there, like, hell, Cindy and stuff, which that reminds me, I gotta show you my sketchbook, once I'm done rambling. Tired of Successor Stories, I'm working on a video on that too. I definitely can't wait to see that, but nah, I disagree with that, man. And you know how we feel about Dragon Ball Z. I know you like, you want Goku and Vegeta to be in the forefront, but me personally, I'm like, I'm sorry. Goku and Vegeta have had their time in the sun. They've done everything. When there's a bad guy, we already know what's gonna happen. So they're gonna win or whatever. I'm like, come on. Um, I know Gohan. I kind of have given Gohan a little this and that and third, but Gohan needs a little something, especially Goten and Trunks and stuff, or Oob, something. Okay, give me something, but not the same damn story over and over again. Writing was like more than you think. People just got mad that they got beta switched. Okay, okay. Yeah, because I mean, well, I was a kid then, and I didn't really know the whole which call it from Metal Gear Solid. But still, I'm like, yeah, but it's the same thing though. It's like, yeah, but people were like, yeah, and then that Metal Gear Solid comic and stuff that IDW had put out where they kinda changed the entire freaking plot. Well, not the entire plot, but they changed around Raiden and Snake's roles where I don't know what Raiden's doing throughout that whole time in the comic, but Snake's pretty much fighting all the Dead Cell members besides Fat Man. But yeah, like he fought Vamp, he fought, I don't know if he probably lost to Misfortune or something like that, like he did in the game. He's the one that defeated, Solidus Snake, his brother, and all that, even though that was Raiden's big moment because Solidus did the most to Raiden, and that's his adopted dad, but okay. So, yeah, yeah, they completely gave in that comic series, everything Raiden had did to Snake, so yeah. Lucia is a cameo. We played as her. I think he's talking about in the show and stuff. Yeah, nah, yeah, I disagree. Goku and Vegeta all day, bro. Nah, nah, man, nah. I hope season 3 of TMNT 2003 would change my fellow YouTubers' opinion on the Fusion Toy, Triceratons, and Utroms, cause so far he thinks of them nothing more than LSD. I mean, for Jesus, and TMNT definitely needs I'd rather more focus on some of the aliens and stuff in TMNT now than the mutants because with these some of these mutants and stuff, I kinda already made a video talking about it, but I'm just getting tired of the focus on mutants and stuff and not like the aliens or the other like interesting stuff that happens in the TMNT universe. But yeah, people saying otherwise aren't a real Dragon Ball fan. Nah, nah, nah. Because I mean, what more can you really do with Goku as a character besides have him show up, like wheel him out, and him and Vegeta both like fight the bad guy of the week or something like that. I'm just saying and stuff. I'm like, nah. And throughout Dragon Ball Super, and I'm not trying to like, how I don't like Dragon Ball Super. We already debated that. But I'm just gonna say, like in Dragon Ball Super, Goten and Trunks, even as Gotenks, they hardly even did anything. Like I remember they got beat up by Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta. And remember, this is the same Gotenks that was fighting freaking Super Buu and all that other stuff and was like able to go Super Saiyan 3. Like, come on. But yeah. But nah, so Andy Shankar, and I get the feeling that like I mean, I would get that feeling too that, oh yeah, well, I kind of wanted to be like that guy to also like, yeah, so I can kind of see it from his perspective too that yeah, I would also love to be the one to revive Devil May Cry and stuff like as a fan. But I mean, I would have humbled myself and been like, nah, that should have came out around the time as Devil May Cry 5, or at least have something that Devil May Cry also has going versus just this just being put out just randomly. But yeah, but it is what it is. I will say, I guess it is getting some people interested in Devil May Cry because like my younger cousin, she's like 18 and stuff, and she don't really play video games like that. But she kind of was like, she saw me playing Devil May Cry, like a little bit before her prom and stuff. And she was like, "Wait, you're playing Devil May Cry?" I'm like, "Yeah. How do you know about Devil May Cry?" She was like, "Yeah, because of that Netflix." I'm like, "Is it because of that Netflix show?" She's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "You seen it yet?" And she was like, well, sort of. I mean, I've heard of it. And I'm like, well. let's just say, and I was just telling her, I was like, well, let's just say a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed as a fan. I'm gonna just say that much, you know. But yeah, well, at least he shares opinions that 2003 Shredder is insanely overrated. It had a pretty lame defeats over and over. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, but I do like Ultron Shredder. I thought that was always an interesting idea. That's your opinion. Goku has much more nuance than that. Trunks and Goten have nothing to them. They were fusion fodder. Toriyama realized he didn't really need them. That's why they're shown less. Oh no, I mean don't get me wrong. Goku definitely does have nuance, but here's the thing though. How you said that they have nothing to them. That's where you can add more stuff to Goten and Trunks, man. Like you gotta flesh them out. You gotta do more with them and stuff, you know? I'm just saying, like, yeah, I would rather see them do more with Goten and Trunks than continue to keep giving all this stuff to Goku and stuff, you know? Like we know how powerful Goku is. We know he's gonna come through in this situation, but I mean, his like his friends, his family, and all them, yeah, they're a little bit more capable even without him. Or throw them in a situation where we're like, oh man, I don't even know if they can really get out of it like that, you know? Like that would have been better for Daima if they used Goten and Trunks than just age down artificially Goku and Vegeta and have them all go on some, you know, some adventure to the demon world and all that. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Merry Christmas. Let's see. Also in Japan, they did weekly popularity polls for Dragon Ball, and Gozen and Drinks weren't that high and barely on the list. Well, yeah, that's how you gotta do more with them. You gotta, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, I want to be a writer, and I'm also an artist too. And if I was working on certain characters and stuff, well, of course you want to go for the popular character and stuff, but you also got to focus on like other characters too to kind of like, you know what I mean? To keep like raising that bar up a little bit, you know, or giving them more like more to do. Like since I know you're a huge Batman fan, but I'm gonna use Batman for example, right? I do like Batman myself, but I'm kind of also interested in knowing more about some of Batman's psychics, like Red Hood, Red Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, the Cassandra Cain one, not Barbara Gordon. Even though, well, I would like to know more about Barbara Gordon as Oracle, you know, Birds of Prey and all that. You know what I mean? Because they have stuff going for them and everything, apart from just being like, you know, connected to Batman. Whether it's like, oh, Red Robin's a part of Young Justice, he's cool with Superboy or whatever. He's the second world's greatest detective right after Batman. He's the best stick fighter in the DC universe. Cassandra Cain, probably one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in the entire world. She beat up Lady Shiva, her mom, and all that stuff, etc. Like, you know what I mean? She's got powers where she can kind of like copy and mimic other people and stuff like that. What's another character? Red Hood. I mean, it's freaking Red Hood. How can you not like Red Hood? You know? But yeah. Who else? Nightwing, of course. You know he's part of the Titans and stuff, etc. Or he has his own city in Bloodhaven where he's got his own crazy villains and stuff that he also handles himself. They may not be as big as like Batman's villains, but I mean, they can be as dangerous though. And Bloodhaven, honestly, Bloodhaven is definitely considered to be a lot more dangerous than Gotham. That's for sure. But anyways, but what I'm saying though, sorry, I'm getting off topic, is that you got to kind of focus on like the lesser characters too sometimes, or the successors to kind of build them up more. Because of course we're going to be attached to like, you know, the main characters and stuff, but you got to do something with that. They aren't interesting. They aren't like the Polish show. At this point, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about them. Piana or Pinata. We literally seen Goku since he was a kid. Yeah, I mean, Goku's lived his life. I mean, we seen this man. We saw this man when he was a 12-year-old kid. We saw him get married and stuff. Be through like you know, saw him grow up, mentors and everything. We saw him have students. We saw him have children. We saw him. He now has a freaking granddaughter. Well, he's been had a granddaughter, but yeah, he has a freaking granddaughter and all that stuff. He's fighting gods, aliens, time traveling. Goku's done it all. Okay, you got to give something to somebody else at least, you know, pass that mic to somebody else. People saying Ahsoka is the best show from Star Wars. What are your thoughts on that? Haven't really seen Ahsoka. SSJ knows I'm a huge fan. Like I like Ahsoka. I'm not a huge fan of Ahsoka, but she's like as far as my favorite Star Wars character goes, yeah, Ahsoka's in my top 5. Like I would say, like Ahsoka, Captain Rex, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, and this might even be controversial, but even Jar Jar Binks. Those are some of my probably my favorite characters besides Star Wars. If I'm going to be honest. Oh shit, he's the main character. It makes sense. He's the face of Dragon Ball, not Gohan or Goten. Yeah, but they've set up Gohan where he could actually be like he could have been like, or he actually was kind of considered to be the main character of Dragon Ball at one point. So they can always still do that, or that's always still like on the table. Just like that Dragon Ball superhero movie. As much as I hate that movie, and what it did to Gohan and Piccolo, still, I mean, yeah, a lot of people did actually kind of like that Gohan at least got something and some kind of spotlight. Binged the 2017, ooh, that Spider-Man show recently. Sorry, it's not you, Ashes. I'm kind of just talking a lot because I'm very long-winded. Spider-Man show recently. Honestly, it was pretty good. Not as great as the 90s Spider-Man and Spectacular, but doesn't deserve the title of the worst. Title goes to Ultimate Spider-Man. Nah, I'm giving that to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That was the worst of me. But that 2017, I'm sorry, I just couldn't stand it. Like I watched one season and look, um, I was even saying this the other day because I was in Nerd Culture stream and stuff, not on, like on his stream, but I was in the chat and all that stuff, and I was saying like, yeah, I watch My Adventures of Superman, but I watched it to make fun of it. I don't watch it, for any kind of legit reason. I like to just make fun of it because I'm like, bro, this shit is terrible, bro. You know what I mean? I'm like that. But even with 2017 Spider-Man, I cannot, I cannot with that show. Um, because Peter is so goddamn annoying in that show. It's retarded as hell how they aged down a lot of the Spider-Man's villains, especially Doctor Octopus. Why'd you make him into a fat kid that is like a student teacher at Peter's school? Why? Shocker. Oh god, it was so goddamn terrible. And hell, I think My Adventures of Superman probably pulled from some examples from that damn show because a lot of those characters are like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna be like, oh, tech-based characters and stuff and get our powers that way and have the lamest design possible. Come on. Andor is the best Star Wars show, live action show. It's not even debatable. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna debate it because I've never really seen it, so I just don't really, I personally don't care about most of Batman's psychics. It takes away from him outside of Robin, Nightwing. We didn't need Batgirl, Batwoman, any other derivatives. Well, and there's a part of me that wants to say Batwoman's a good, diverse character because she's a lesbian woman. But I mean, but she is a like I mean a likable kind of well, not a likable kind of character, but she's actually a character that kind of works. And from last I remember, like unlike Batman, like Batwoman, she is she does kill and she does use guns and stuff, similar to Red Hood. So yeah, and then Cassandra Cain, I think she's also a pretty interesting character too because she, you know how I love me some femme fatales, man. Cassandra Cain, she's an assassin, formerly turned vigilante hero and all that stuff, and the daughter of Batman or the adopted daughter, but still. And I've liked how she's kind of mute and everything, and she's a little dyslexic. So you have a lot to kind of work with that, where she's at least like learning and all that stuff. Like it's pretty interesting. I actually just got a book that I was just reading the other day. I have like this graphic novel of Cassandra Cain and stuff because her comics are really kind of scarce to find sometimes, It's cool that she has a comic book. Sorry, that was the alarm. It's kind of cool that she has a thing now, like a comic book run now, but I'm just saying, yeah. But what I'm saying though for Batman, what it does for Batman's character is like, because I'm kind of like burnt out of seeing young Batman trying to figure things out and stuff like that. And I kind of want to see that prime Batman where he's like, a good mentor and he's bonding with other people and stuff, like, or, with well, obviously his sidekicks or adopted children and stuff like that. Like it's a more better dynamic than just seeing him and Alfred just keep their secret together or him and Commissioner Gordon and stuff. You know what I mean? But that's just how I feel. All right, let's see. Nah, Dragon Ball Z shouldn't be passing down the torch. If anything, it should end. But if not, that's where it stands. I mean, again, I disagree because there's a lot you can do with Dragon Ball Z and stuff. And there have been times where Goten and Trunks have been either the main characters or Gohan and so on and so forth. Like you can tell a Dragon Ball Z story without Goku. I mean, I know you're saying that, yeah. I mean, but it's a pretty safe bet and stuff to go with Goku. But why not just take a chance and just try somebody else like Goten and Trunks or somebody that can actually use that kind of spotlight though than just Goku all the time or Vegeta. Concane knows how I feel about Ahsoka. Terrible show. I'm actually since I have Disney Plus, I'm actually kind of contemplating on actually watching it. I heard it's probably not that bad, but I know about the criticism though, like that Satine stuff, because Satine is like Ahsoka's apprentice and all that. And I know that there's some feminism stuff going on there with that character, so I'm probably not gonna like that per se. But Ahsoka as a character, though, yeah, she's all right. And I remember hearing too that a lot of people liked Christian Hayden on there. They were like, "Oh shit, Christian Hayden's back as Anakin? Sign me up!" You know, I know how you feel. Doctor Jerry, Doctor Jarrell, I'm pretty sure is probably my favorite. Yeah, he was a pretty cool villain, very underrated. Toriyama thought about it and it backtracked as he felt Gohan just wasn't right, and I agree. I disagree. I mean, again, there's more stuff you can definitely do with Gohan and all that versus just like, you know what I mean? But yeah, your friendly neighbors and his diverse friends. Yep. That's the perfect name. Spider-Man for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and his diverse friends. It's trash, bro. Rhino is a woman in that show, and so is the lizard. I don't think they gender swap Rhino. I think it was you, SSJ, and somebody else that said Rhino got gender swap. I don't think it was Rhino. I think that because I know what character you're talking about. I think that was Unicorn and stuff. Unicorn, I think, is an Iron Man villain that they gender swap, and I think Rhino was that Russian guy that was like her partner or something like that. But he never dressed up as the Rhino or anything. So yeah, but yeah, still a dumb show. And they had to make a black female lizard, bro. I don't know why. I do not know why. That woman is not a good, diverse character. A lot, laugh aloud. Plus, she wasn't lesbian at first until the late '90s. No, no, I'm talking about Kate Kane, Batwoman. Not Kathy Kane and all that other stuff. Kate Kane. Kate Kane, she was a character that was created like in, if I'm not mistaken, 2005 or like 2006 or something. Um yeah, she was a good character in there, but I'm not talking about that stupid ass CW show. Yeah, she was horrible and stuff in that. And I think they even changed her character around because in the comics, like Kate Kane, I heard she's a very feminine character despite, being a lesbian and all that stuff. But in the show, they just went with, oh well, let's just make her into a stereotypical gay woman where she's wearing motorcycle jackets, she's wearing her hair all like short and stuff and boyish and looking boyish, all that. And I'm like, wait, what? That don't look nothing like Kate Kane, bro. Like, where's the red hair? And I know she wears like a little bit of a wig too sometimes, but even then, she has her hair at least shoulder length, and she's Jewish and all that stuff. But yeah, but okay. Yeah, 2017 Octavius is the best. Oof, no, it's the best version comparing to others. At least he got a full arc, unlike Spectacular. Who just went from bully swine to edgy swine. I mean, in the Spectacular Spider-Man thing, Doctor Octopus, he went hard. He was intelligent. He was leading the team, like he was leading the Sinister Six. Like they were actually rallying behind him and stuff because they respected Doctor Octopus, and like not only just for his strength, but his intelligence too and stuff. Like even Electro was like, because remember that like I can't remember which episode it was, but like Doctor Octopus, he was faking the whole time that oh yeah, I'm becoming a little bit more submissive, and the treatment's starting to work, and I terribly regret my actions and stuff. And Electro was like, man, I used to look up to you, Doc. And then later on, a few episodes later, when it's revealed that Doctor Octopus was the mastermind the whole time or whatever, Electro was like, "Oh my god, Doc, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I doubted you." Like he was a cool villain in that one. I'm just saying. And sometimes it doesn't really matter for like a character for how they like got to one point or another. It's kind of like also the execution, like, oh, like what do they do to kind of do that kind of stuff? You know what I mean? White Tiger and Tigress in 2011, I mean 2012 Spider-Man show was pretty cool. I kind of like the idea. It gave me Spider-Man Friends vibe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, I used to watch Ultimate Spider-Man back in the day. It wasn't bad, but I'm pretty sure if I look back on it now, I'm probably gonna be like, yeah. But I don't know. From my perspective, it was kind of like a Batman Brave and Bold kind of just with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man and Batman both had like the most like most Marvel and DC kind of shows and all that. Just give me a middle age Batman close to the Arkham games. Affleck was the closest we got. Yep, yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, and then they had to backpedal to Robert Pattinson for whatever reason, and it's like, come on. And then they're gonna do this whole thing of they want to. Oh yeah, that's the problem also that I wanted to say about Mortal Kombat was that they're trying to make Mortal Kombat or like Batman and stuff like that too like grounded and realistic. And look, I don't mind a little grounded and realism here and there, but you also got to make it a little bit more fantastical and stuff. Because I actually remember Mugen Lord. He's a YouTuber like I follow and stuff, and he's on Twitter and all that. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know who Mugen Lord is, but yeah, he was like saying like yeah, like one of the problems with Mortal Kombat that he just felt like it's stale now because it just looks generic. Like you know what I mean? Like because when you look back at like especially like the 3D era stuff, um, the characters and stuff like wore like those colorful and interesting outfits and stuff from their cultures or whatever, or fighting attire and all that. And now it's just like generic bodysuit or whatever, especially for the women. So yeah, and then Batman. Um, yeah, yeah, that movie was just yeah. I didn't hate it, but my family was like, "Man, this was boring as hell for a Batman movie." Agree to disagree, but Goku is Dragon Ball. You can't do it without him. They tried Goten and Trunks and Bio Broly and it sucked balls. That's it for Dragon Ball for me. I mean, you say Bio Broly, but there's been other stuff too. Like, I mean, those episodes when they were fighting Super Buu. I mean, Broly's Second Coming. That was a pretty good movie, and that was mostly about Goten, Trunks, for the most part. Gohan showed up a little bit later. Videl was there in the beginning and all that stuff. Um, yeah, they've had their moments and stuff, but they need more moments. That's the thing. Ahsoka show is bad because Dave Filoni, who wasn't really a great writer to begin with, was burned out completely to this point. To me, he's Star Wars version of Ian Flynn. Yikes! You know how much I like Ian Flynn, but to each to his own. I think Ian Flynn's pretty cool though, but Dave Filoni, yeah, a lot of people were kind of begging on that. I was talking about Kate Kane, not the other one you mentioned. She was straight originally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was straight originally. And I think that Batwoman was created to be like a love interest for like Batman because I heard that there was like there was this like doctor that made these allegations or something back then that Batman and Robin is trying to promote homosexuality. And DC was like, "Oh no, no, Batman and Robin aren't on that gay shit." So they created the original Batwoman and the original Batgirl, not Barbara Gordon, but another Batgirl, where they were like, oh, lovers and stuff to both Batman and Robin. And it was like a Silver Age thing. How dare you insult Brave and Bold like that? Brave and Bold is a love letter to the 60s Batman. Ultimate Spider Man is trying to turn Peter into Deadpool while also trying to make it dumb. Show for toddlers. I mean, the principle of it. I mean, because Ultimate Spider-Man, that was mostly a show about Spider-Man, but it was also kind of trying to introduce as many heroes as they could as well. That's why I just made the correlation. I'm not saying Ultimate Spider-Man is better than Batman and Brave and Bold, because I'm more drawn to watching Batman Brave and Bold than whatchamacallit. Broly's Second Coming was not good. Yes, it was. I actually do like Broly's Second Coming. It was a cool movie. Nah, yeah, I don't agree with that one. But yeah, Ahsoka was bad because the feminist agenda and dumb moments. 17 surviving a lightsaber stab, ignoring lore so that she can be the next successor. Ahsoka was also bland as a character. Hmm. Well, I'd definitely check it out when I get there though. But yeah. All right. I know I've been going on a minute for all these comments and stuff. So I guess I could probably show you guys my sketches. And I'm pretty sure I've already shown a lot of these sketches on thing. But I might actually show you guys my indie stuff too. But yeah. I used to be a Ian Flynn hater till Shadow of the Dark Beginnings was released. I have to say that Ian Flynn wrote the series very well in the way he perfected portrayed Shadow's PTSD to be accurate. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like Ian Flynn, the thing about Ian Flynn is, and I guess like Dave Filoni, like Ash just pointed out, he's a fan of the series and stuff, so he kind of knows what he's doing. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that well every fan knows how to write like, you know what I mean? But they know like what the feedback is and they know what fans would probably, say or whatever online. So yeah. So, he has stuff like that going for him. All right. Let me turn on this camera. Yeah, that's right. I got those white cookies. My mom kind of gave it to me on my way back and stuff because she don't like to eat sweets and stuff like that. And I don't really, yeah. Whoops. So if you guys remember these drawings and stuff, this is from my animation that I did way back. The villains in Ahsoka barely do anything and seem threatening. Yeah, liking the sketches. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're definitely if you like this, you're definitely gonna like what I the rest that I have to show you. But what was I gonna say? So if you guys remember my animation that I did with Godai and Kyoko from Mice and Agaku, that's an anime that was created by Rumiko Takahashi and stuff, the same creator of Inuyasha and Ramna and a Half and Urusei Yatsura. I was watching another anime called Mice and Agaku a few years ago, like 2 years ago actually, around the time when I was watching Urusei Yatsura and all that, or a little bit after that, because I was like, man, I gotta get more of this Rumiko Takahashi stuff. So yeah, so basically for Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day, I did this animation and stuff. So these are some sketches I did, and then I kind of scanned it, and then I like traced it over and digitally drew it. So yeah, you guys know what animation I'm talking about. It's in my playlist actually, and obviously on my channel. So yeah, if you want to go back to it, there it is. But yeah, that's how I started off this sketchbook and all that. Them arguing and then this turning into that, like their first kiss and everything. I like Rumiko Takahashi's work. Yeah, she's one of my favorite artists and like manga artists and stuff. Then here, I kind of like started checking out Digimon. Now, my first exposure to Digimon was, I believe, Digimon Tamers, the one with Renamon and Gilmon and the other one and stuff. Um, yeah, with them and stuff. Yeah, I remember that used to come on like Jetix or something back on like Disney. Yeah, but I never really saw the original Digimon. So eventually I ended up like I was at a con, like an anime con, like what I think last year and stuff, and I ended up getting this Blu-ray DVD of like the full set of Digimon, right? The first like adventure and all that stuff. So to kind of better understand the characters and stuff, or better understand like remember their names and stuff like that, I kind of just drew them out. Like here you got Tai or Tai Chi and Agumon, you got Yamato and Gabumon and all that stuff right here. You got Joe and you got yeah, I can't pronounce all these names like that, but Gamuman or Gamumon and all that. Takuro and Patumon and all that. Yep. Mimi and you got Palamon. Yep. Sora and Piyomon. So yeah. And then of course, I use watercolor markers and all that stuff. I still gotta finish my Ramna video series. Yeah, no, I've been thinking about that too, man. Because it's definitely been a while since you've like done that. Um, I know I keep talking about how, man, I'm looking forward to some of your content on your channel, but yeah, because yeah, you used to get a whole lot of views off of some of that stuff. Nice sketches, thanks, I appreciate it. Then obviously this is like some notes that I've taken into whatever. Yeah, maybe for some videos and stuff here and there. I like to like write in my sketchbook, just to fill it up. I used to like have journals and stuff, and I still do have journals. I like to keep around these mini journals though for like day to day tasks and stuff like that to kind of keep myself a little busy. But yeah. So I was also rewatching Konichi History is My Disciple. It's an old martial arts anime that used to come out back in like the 2000s. I think the manga came back in the 90s. I was kind of on Dazzling Kate's channel actually when I was talking a little bit about Kenichi History is My Disciple, and it was for like that Valentine's Day special and all that stuff. and I was talking about like Miyu Ferengi, she's the love interest and the deuteragonist of the show, and the main guy Kenichi himself, the titular character and all that. So yeah, yeah, I got a bunch of videos coming out. Nice, but yeah, here's I just wanted to draw this scene where Kenichi. I know this sounds a little weird, but he's getting tickled by Miyu and Kasara, Miyu's rival. I just thought the shit was funny, so why not? Then you got some of Kasara here. Kasara, she used to be a villain, but turned, kind of like a bit of a, well, yeah, turned a little bit of a hero and stuff, or a bit of a friend to Kenichi and the others and all that. She's like this delinquent girl, but she's got like a soft spot for like cutesy things, especially cats. Her and Miyu are like they love for like freaking cats and stuff. I'm not a huge cat person myself. I'm more of a dog person. But I mean, cats they're all right. I mean, I don't hate them and stuff. I'd be like, hmm, yeah, okay. And then you got Shigure right here. This is Shigure back when she was younger and all that. When she was a child, and this is her older and stuff. I know some of my watercolors might run through my paper a little bit, but sometimes you just gotta push on through it and stuff, and probably find better sketchbooks, in the future. But yeah, here's Kenichi getting trained by Shigure and all that in weapons training, which in Kenichi history is my disciple. Like Kenichi's got several masters and stuff. Like he's got like a Muay Thai master, Apajai. He's got a karate master like Sakagi. He's got a jujitsu master named Akasame. He's got a Chinese martial artist Kempo master, Kensei Ma. Yeah, and so on and so forth. Or Miyu's grandpa, and all that. Yeah. Hayato, yeah, they all kind of train Kenichi, but I gotta say the one that probably trains Kenichi the least is Shigure, and she's always disappointed when she can't train Kenichi because she's like, yeah, because Kenichi don't really be using weapons in his fights and stuff, but Shigure, she's a weapons master, so yeah, so she don't really get to train Kenichi a whole lot, but she really wants it. She's like, oh man, I was looking forward to training Kenichi and using real swords and everything. I appreciate seeing this. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna show you some of my OCs and stuff. I want to get back to drawing and sketching again. Man, I got actually no, was it you on Discord, SSG, or was that Bundle that used to do all those like drawings and sketches and stuff? Because that was actually some pretty good stuff back when Jay Leno's Discord server. But yeah, then here's Kenichi getting trained in Muay Thai by his master Apajai and stuff. And then this is like the final villain in Kenichi in the anime series, not in Kenichi in general, but one of Kenichi's childhood friends, Odin or Ryoto Saki and stuff, or well, no, not Saki, my bad. Ryoto Asamiya, that's his full name, my bad. But yeah, I like his hair too, so yeah. Ooh, Dr. Hino, you're on SSJT, yeah, you're both Resident Evil fans. But some Resident Evil drawings, because I was playing Resident Evil 2 and all that stuff. So here's a drawing. If you remember, I think it was like a locket that Ada had or something, or a picture of her and John. Yeah, that's what this is based off of. I like those. They look great. Really, I appreciate it. And then you guys remember Steve and the tragedy that became of him and stuff. Yeah, Steve Burnside. This is his parents and stuff. This is from the obviously the game that Steve was in, Resident Evil Code Veronica. So if you played what is it, Mercenaries or something? If you play that portion of the game and stuff and you beat Steve's thing, then you get like a image of like, oh, him and his family and stuff and that beautiful music. So I put that, like, I drew that here, so you see his mom and his dad and all that. So yeah, his dad kind of looking like Colonel Armstrong. Hold on. But yeah, Code Veronica, which I played through a few months ago. Nice. Yeah, and I saw, well, I didn't see it, but I know you put up that stream of like you playing a remake of Resident Evil 1 on your birthday, SSJ. But yeah, Mr. X. Yep, Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. I kind of liked it too in the remake with the hat and stuff. I like how they added the hat on him and stuff. That's just like I don't know. It's just a nice touch. It's so weird, but yeah. And then this is his final form with the claws and shit. I was like, oh shit. Like he like and I can't stop thinking about like every time he like pops out of that lava and whether or not you're playing as like Leon and Claire, they turn around. They're like, what the fuck? And he and Mr. X is so pissed off and he's like, yeah, about to cut you up now. And like he's on go and stuff. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, Mr. X. And it's crazy how he survived falling into a vat of lava, but then a rocket launcher takes this man out. Like that's crazy. Really good Tyrant drawings. Thanks. I love Operation Raccoon City and Outbreak Files. I probably need to really play those, but I don't know. I probably don't really have the motivation to play it because I mean I've played the main series of Resident Evil games, but well, and I played some spin-offs here and there like Revelations, the first one, but that's about it. Now I want to replay Resident Evil 2 remake on my PS5. Yeah, yeah, I got the original Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 1. I'm playing it. I was playing it on my PlayStation 2 and stuff. I kind of used some money I got from Christmas from my nana and stuff, and got Resident Evil 2 at this like retro video game shop. Then here you got William Birkin and stuff. Yeah, I know. Like I kind of didn't want to use red too much per se, and I was like, well, I wonder what pink would look like, a more fleshier kind of color. It's kind of disturbing and fucked up, but yeah, nice William Birkin and the liquor from Resident Evil 2. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that liquor though. Yeah, I like how I did that with the red. But yeah, and Birkin and stuff, I'm like, it's kind of disturbing, but yet also like, yeah, but I had to draw it. I just had to draw it. I was like, man, this is wild. Then you got Boruto right there. Speaking about successor characters again. But I mean, for Naruto though, I do feel like Naruto probably him and especially his generation really than just Naruto. A lot of them needed a little bit more spotlight or needed a little bit more time to, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, or some focus. But yeah, but Boruto, yeah, he's also pretty cool too. I like it really, man. Great detail in the flesh and design for Birkin. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, especially on that face, I was like, bro, that is just a crazy feeling to imagine, like his face getting pushed into his body and all that stuff or whatever. I'm like, ew, that is messed up, and that's not something I would wish on anyone. And then you got Sarda right here. I think originally I saw a picture of Kid Sarda, but I wanted to kind of age her up to being Two Blue Vortex Sarda. So I just, drew Two Blue Vortex Sarda about the same height as Sakura with Sasuke and Sakura and stuff, with her parents and all that because, she's kind of missing her dad. This is kind of my script that I kind of did for that Black Panther stream and all that, or my notes for that. If you read Immortal Hulk, Birkin's design inspired Immortal Abomination. Oh Christ. Q malfunction is gene theme. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. With the G baby and all that. Then here we get into some of my Black Panther drawings. So there I got White Wolf. That's T'Challa's adopted brother and stuff. Hunter. Yep. You got Ninja Daka. Eric Killmonger and stuff, and Prey, his little pet leopard and all that. Yeah, Ninja Daka, he's a villain of the Black Panther, of course. Then you got Malice right there, aka Nadia and stuff. I talked about her on my stream too. I was saying like, damn, she's a very problematic love interest of T'Challa in Black Panther and stuff. Like she in the movies and stuff, she's like, she's okay. But in the comics, I'm like, oh shit, she is very, very obsessive and clingy. Yeah, I like to handwrite my notes for my streams and videos too. You're like me with that. Yeah, yeah, I heard yeah, you keep old notes and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, I like to do that. I mean, well, I like to write in general and stuff, because I'm just like, man, I wonder what I'm gonna say or whatever, you know what I mean, to kind of keep my thoughts straight. There, I got Azuri and stuff. Got any Daredevil and Moon Knight drawings? Well, probably not Moon Knight. No, I probably don't. No. Oh yeah, speaking about Daredevil, I know you've been seeing my videos about Daredevil and stuff about like some of those bonus features. And no, it's not about our whole thing about the whole how I think the 2003 Daredevil was a good or anything. But it's still also like because I'm not really care. I don't really care for the how many views he gets on there. I am surprised how many views that Electra and that Daredevil and some of my like Daredevil stuff got like views and stuff on there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually surprised by that, despite the quality and all that other stuff, but still. But it's really meant for me to kind of like be like, all right, well, I wonder what this thought process was, and to kind of also just put it out there too for other people and stuff who might be looking for that kind of thing. That's just how I see it. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to write too. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. But yeah, Azuri. Then you got Black Panther and stuff. Yeah, this is the Black Panther that I saw from Ultimate Avengers and stuff. That was the costume that Black Panther wore with his mask. Like, you can kind of like see his face and stuff. And I like how he had his arms out and all that. Yeah, definitely a very cool look. Maybe we should collab on Daredevil now versus then. Maybe that'd be interesting. That'd definitely be interesting. And I know you saw this on Instagram, SSJ. But yeah, my She-Hulk drawing. Speaking about Hulk, because I was watching that old Fantastic Four cartoon from like 2006 and all that, for old time's sake. And I was like, man, I gotta draw She-Hulk, bro. And then of course her base outfit too, as Jen Walters and all that. Then of course you got the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. Yeah, I had to draw I had to draw the original Silver Surfer. Once they revealed female Silver Surfer, I was like, all right, I gotta draw Norman Rad, bro. Yeah, I did like your She-Hulk drawing. She was good in 2006 cartoon. Yeah, yeah, she was really good. More notes and stuff. That's mostly from the Black Panther stuff. Um, that's from my Don't Make Cry stuff, actually. Let's see. Questions about. Oh yeah, this is probably stuff that I was about to ask you during your stream and stuff. That's SJ. But I was like, oh, but you already kind of had to plan out, so it all worked out. The Mel Silver Surfer, the OG. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I had to draw him because I'm like, all right, no, forget this Shalabah, whatever. We need an order rat. And of course, Superman, Matrix, the little Matrix outfit, Superman thing with the black suit and all that. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I like the long wavy hair that Superman got, like that he had back in the '90s and stuff. I know it's not Superman like, but I'm like, come on, like I gotta draw. And if they ever do like a Superman anime, he has to have that kind of hair, bro. Yeah, I have the notes on that whole stream we've done. I told Jay Leno to send him some copies. Nice. Then Steel. Yeah, I gotta give Steel some representation because, well, DC hardly isn't gonna do it. And he's basically like their black Superman. I'm like, you got a black Superman right there. So instead of trying to do a movie about, oh, well, we need to do a movie about a black Superman in the 1920s, he got Steel and stuff. I mean, it don't have to be in the 1920s, but yeah, just, yeah. Then, I was watching Legions of Superheroes. Well, I just watched Legion. I just finished watching Legions of Superheroes actually, but this isn't when I started. I was just kind of thinking, it's been a long time since since I've drawn Superman X or even thought about the character. So I was like, you know what? Let me bring in Superman X and stuff and draw him. And this is like around Superman Day. I didn't care for the design, but it was an alternate and stuff. Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. Man, I pretty much nailed those hairstyles. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I think yeah, this was from that comic that I have with the conduit and all that stuff. Still is cool, but he's still a tech guy, just in a suit, right? With a hammer. Yeah, he is. But I'm just saying, like, come on, that would have been cool. And then more Resident Evil drawings. So I kind of put myself up to like, because I have a checklist of stuff that I draw and all that stuff, and I was like, well, I promised myself that I was going to draw other characters or draw these characters specifically, and I, was supposed to be drawing Claire. So drew Claire from that ending pick of Resident Evil 2, along with Sherry. Oh shit! And then this is from Code Veronica. As you can kind of see, some of the coloring from the other page is kind of start. See, Anakin, Obi-Wan, still, yeah, nice Claire and Sherry. Thanks. And then you got Darth Maul. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of outdid myself with this Darth Maul thing because I'm like, Jesus Christ, I really made Darth Maul look demonic as hell. with that coloring, especially that yellow in his eyes and the yellow teeth. I'm like, good God. But yeah. And then I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes it takes a lot to draw in pen and watercolor markers and stuff. It takes time. So I just said, fuck it. Let me just get back to just traditional hand drawn sketching and stuff. So I drew Leon right here from Resident Evil 2 and all that. That's the little end picture and all that. Let me get a closer look. And then of course, when there's Leon, there's Dante. I drew the Netflix Dante and stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of like the hairstyle and a little bit of the design. Um, it could probably use a little bit less, but I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. And then I'm not sure if you saw it, SSJ, but the little hairstyle that was his face that Dante had in like that season 2 sneak peek or whatever that they show or whatever or that's online. Yo, that that hairstyle is pretty good though. I'm not gonna lie. You should try to get your art preserved if you can. Yeah, like do prints and stuff like that or whatever. Yeah, that can be yeah. That's why I like to put it online and stuff because I always be putting on either DeviantArt or Instagram or something or whatever. But yeah, ooh yeah, Dante's double trigger form from that Netflix Don't Make Cry thing. I know a lot of people are like, well, it looks too much like Zarkon from Voltron, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the design though. That's pretty good. Thanks, I appreciate it. Oh, damn, it's about to be 12 o'clock. Oh, whatever. Well, I knew what I was getting myself into. And then this is Dante saving Cindy and stuff. Could have done a little bit better here, but yeah. And I kind of just remembered Cindy from the which that is I will give the Netflix Devil May Cry one that much credit. That waitress from that one scene was Cindy from the Devil May Cry anime and stuff, and I completely forgot about that character. I was like, oh my god, that's right. She's that girl that had that crush on Dante and everything. But yeah, nice. I like the design from Devil May Cry Netflix and the Double Trigger despite our issues with it. Yeah, yeah, like it wasn't bad. And it's not like a completely bad looking show. It's just like the stuff around it that pisses off about it, you know? Then of course I got Rainbow Mika and stuff. So I've been getting some lofty thoughts lately, not about Rainbow Mika. Well, partially, but that's not it. I'm thinking about doing possibly a Wonder Woman animation. So I might do like, oh, well, she just does some random moves or some villains and stuff like that. And I was kind of thinking about taking some inspiration or some moves from like some characters like Rainbow Mika because, Wonder Woman, she's like a wrestler and all that stuff and like a melee fighter and stuff like that. So you can kind of see like this elbow drop that she's doing and stuff. I can definitely imagine like Wonder Woman doing something like that. Yeah, that's just because I just was just being fun. And this drop kick and stuff, that's definitely something Wonder Woman will probably do or whatever. And then I drew these today actually. This is Sun Sun and stuff. She's a character from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and stuff. She's an original character from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's a kind of a shame they never really did much with her and a lot of those characters from that game though. But yeah, so yeah, Wonder Girl is cool. Should get more love. Oop, I may have to disagree, but I think Wonder Woman is outdated. Come on, she is not outdated. Wonder Girl is cool, but it should get some love too. Yeah, she definitely should get some love. Donna Troy and Cassie says Mark, but nah, Wonder Woman she ain't outdated. It's weird how they try to like modernize them. And then there's some notes I took today, specifically for the stream, which that's why I'm kind of streaming a little bit late because I was like, well, I kind of had to have my stuff ready, and then on top of that, what was I gonna say about X Men? Yeah, I was rewatching X-Men 97 and I was like watching the last 2 episodes and then I was also watching Spy X Family and I wanted to finish up that part 2 of season 1 of Spy X Family. So I'm a little bit well, I'm not caught up on Spy X Family. I got one more season. But still good shows. And X-Men 97, I mean, looking past it, the fast-paced nature of it and all that stuff, it's not a bad show. It's actually all right. Yeah, stuff. It definitely does. Like X Men '97 to me feels like a kind of like a fan series, really, than anything. Like somebody that was like a huge fan of the comics and stuff, which that's a good thing. But it feels like a fan series and stuff. But it definitely does feel better than I think that final season of the original X Men the animated series. So yeah, yeah, she's outdated, but a better hero and just a better hero. I would replace her with Supergirl or Power Girl from the Justice League. I don't know about Supergirl because I mean Supergirl is adjacent to Superman, so it's kind of like okay, so Superman, Supergirl, and Batman. You know what I mean? But nah, Wonder Woman, she's fine as is. Yeah, she kind of has her own thing going and all that stuff, and it's definitely like one of the characters, like one of the most like recognizable like DC comic book characters and stuff. Up there with Batman and Superman, and rightfully so. You know, but that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, yeah, they definitely could do more with Wonder Woman though. Did you have the 2003 Daredevil movie on DVD? It's funny you say that. Um, yeah, yeah, I definitely do have it on DVD. Actually, I have like about probably like this shows you how much I really love that Daredevil movie. I have like at least 4 discs of that Daredevil movie. Now, let me explain. I have the cut version, the the original like theatrical release of Daredevil, and it comes with 2 discs. So it's like one where it's the film, and then two where it's like the extras and stuff and the bonus features that's on it. On that second disc, that's the thing that I was recording recently with the Michael Clark Duncan Kingpin thing and all that stuff, and then the interviews that Stan Lee, John Romita Sr. and Jr., Frank Miller, and all that stuff where they were talking about Daredevil. That's all on that second disc. Then I have um the um the uncut director's cut or the director's cut of Daredevil on DVD that I bought a few years ago, I think, probably like 2 years ago, I think. And then I have another uncut version of Daredevil and stuff that came with this pack because I was trying to like watch Elektra, or get Elektra on DVD and stuff. I was hoping it would be the uncut version, but it's not. And also the Wolverine because it's been a while since I've seen the Wolverine and the Wolverine. I know a lot of people like love Logan and stuff, and Logan is a good movie. But if you want to ask me personally, my favorite Wolverine movie, I gotta say it's the Wolverine. To me, that was probably the best Wolverine movie, and I do have a soft spot for Wolverine Origins too. Like it's not half bad. It's not the best and stuff, and especially how they screwed over Deadpool. Yeah, I thought he did it during the streaming. Hmm? Oh, Leffa, I just described to him. Oh, okay. I don't know who you're talking about. Shonen loves that 2003. Yep. Yep. You already know. Yep. Like, yep. You already know. I thought he did during the streaming. As kids, we hated that movie, critics and fans alike. Now all of a sudden, folks like it. It's the Mando effect. Nah, because even back then, people actually, well, I don't know from your perspective, SSJ, and really for me, it's really just the internet where people just talk crap about that movie. But from my perspective, when I show people Daredevil, the movie and stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, it was all right and stuff. Or hell, I was just watching the bonus feature thing and they were just saying, like, yeah, it sold out on President's Day that very year and stuff because it was just that good. So it wasn't really that bad of a movie as people made it out to be. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect. Yeah, it could probably be a little bit darker and stuff. And yeah, there was a lot of studio interference and all that stuff going on. It happens, but for what it's worth, I was like, nah, this is pretty solid. I appreciate this. Show us the Daredevil movies on DVD live. Oh, I'm gonna grab it in a second. Hang on. If that's what you want. Nah, back then everyone hated that film, bro. I asked older folks in comic stores. I went to some people see it as guilty pleasure. Yeah, maybe as a guilty pleasure, but nah, nah. A lot of people, there are definitely people that like it. I mean, they talk crap about it now because we had that Charlie Cox thing with the Netflix and the Born Against, you know. But nah, man, I disagree with that. Hang on, and that's how we got Elektra. Mm. Well, I at least found one, so that at least counts for something. But yeah, I do have other copies though. And I actually showed that case cover too on my short where I was talking about why I like that version of Daredevil. The Wolverine was okay. Yeah, I mean it was a cool movie, man. Yeah. It was like, oh shit. I thought it was terrible. It wasn't until the Netflix we really got a good Daredevil. I mean, I disagree. But yeah. Did you like the X-Men First Class? Yeah, First Class was cool. It's not my favorite X-Men movie, personally. I remember seeing it in theaters with my mom when it came out, but yeah, it was an alright movie and stuff, you know? And to be honest with you, I kinda always liked the what's his face? The Fox X-Men movies a lot more than I like the, what's his face? More so than the MCU. That's just always something how I always personally felt. Lecture was not good at either. She was better in season 2 Netflix and more comic book accurate. I disagree with that. Um, we might even talk about that someday. But Elektra though, I mean, yeah, the movie wasn't really good like that, but to be honest with you, it wasn't really that bad either, like when you really think about it. Cause yeah, the story and all that, yeah, and the whole thing with the girl being the treasure and all that stuff, but when you really think about it, it's just a movie that's just meant to entertain in the end of the day. And I know that's just feeling like, oh well, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying like that's kind of how it was. And it actually was kind of cool though. Like looking back on it. I'm not saying it was perfect, hell no. But it was all right. Will you see the new Fantastic Four movie? Yes, unfortunately I will. I will see the new Fantastic Four and that new Superman movie. I know it's not going to be good, but I'm going to bite the bullet anyways and watch it just because I just out of curiosity. You know? And again, I'm not really into cats like that, or I'm not like a cat person or whatever. But, you know, yeah, curiosity just gotta get the better of me. So I have to watch it. I have to know what exactly they're gonna do to the Fantastic Four and what are they gonna do to Superman. You know, I have to know. I just have to know. Did you like the Electro movie? Yeah, like I said, I thought it was alright. Like it wasn't like really that bad. It was just like think of it just really as just an action movie and that's just about it. I may have a future video about the 2003 Daredevil. I could see being a guilty pleasure, Goofy Bullseye, Black Kingpin, Surface Level Electra, weird editing choices. I can go on. I mean, if you're talking about like the theatrical release for weird editing choices, I mean, like, let me give you one right here. So I remember on the director's like commentary on well in the director's cut for like the commentary and stuff, they were saying like here's a weird cut. So like in that scene when Jack Murdock gets killed by like the Kingpin and and Fallon's enforcers and all that stuff or whatever, and they like leave and stuff. There was supposed to be a scene that was like cut from the theatrical release where yeah, they show Fallon and stuff like in his limo or whatever, where he pulls up the window and with this smirk on his face, like, yeah, that's right, I did that. Or I'm responsible and stuff, but they kind of cut it in the theatrical release, but they put it in the cut version. So that was kind of weird. So they made like I wouldn't say that was on the directors and stuff. That was on the studio. And it was like, but why would you want to cut out that scene? And they're like, yeah, that's what they were like. They were like, why would you want to cut out that scene? They're like, just take it out, like we said. They're like, okay, fine. Michael Clark Duncan, I think yeah, he did a good job as Kingpin. You know, I don't really like race swaps just as much as the next guy. I really don't like race swaps. Back then, when they used to race swap characters and stuff, they didn't do it to kind of make it a big statement where, oh, well, I'm race swapping this character so I can tell racial stories with this character because that's where it's kind of bled into. Or, oh yeah, well, this character, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know the whole thing. But no, Michael Clark Duncan was chosen because of his performance and stuff, and because he just had the frame and everything as Kingpin. Like he's 6'7", just like Kingpin, bald headed, and all that. It's just that oh well, he's black, but maybe we could probably overlook it. You know what I mean? And then it's not like his Kingpin was like terrible because he's came back plenty of times as Kingpin because he was in Spider-Man the new animated series, that MTV Spider-Man, and he was in that Punisher video game where he voiced the Kingpin in both of those things. So his Kingpin can't be that terrible. If yeah, and people actually liked it too. So I'm just saying. And Bullseye, Bullseye was funny as shit though in that movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, I like Bullseye and stuff. And come on, be honest, he looked way more cooler than he did inside Daredevil Born Again. Okay, we were like waiting to the end for Bullseye to get a cool costume. Bullseye didn't get anything besides that weird ass ski mask and all that with the cool gloves at least. But come on, that's it. Okay, but yeah, let me try to catch up with these comments. I know it's been a lot of comments here. Same here. The only thing I'll give in 2003 Daredevil was the suit looked cool. I mean, the suit looked cool. The music they had for it was popping. They even made a lot of, and I just now realized, but they also had a lot of themes too that like a lot of like some bands and stuff had made up for like for that Daredevil movie. I mean, if you really look up "Man Without Fear," um, what was it? I could probably look. Well, I'm using my phone to record now, but you get the point. Did you like the 2005 Daredevil? I mean, Fantastic Four movie? Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, I liked the superhero movies from the 2000s as long as it's not Catwoman. Let me stop. But yeah, the Fantastic Four movie, it was all right. It wasn't bad as everybody keeps saying. Like those movies weren't all that bad. First one, I can kind of see it's more of a home movie kind of thing or like an origins kind of movie, but it was all right for the time. To me, Rise of Silver Surfer, I think that's probably the best Fantastic Four movie. To be honest, really, because the only thing that people really hate about Rise of Silver Surfer is what they did to Galactus, but that's a whole conversation for another day, though. But still, it was an alright movie. You can disagree, but yeah, no, season two was better all the way through. Nah, and it's not to say I don't like season two of Daredevil. I think it was all right, and stuff. Yeah, it wasn't as good as season one or three, but yeah, season two was all right. There were some parts where it kind of dragged a little bit, but it wasn't bad. What's happening is Stephen Patello. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, bro. 2003 Kingpin did not end up pussy whipped, so that damn. Evanescence went hard. Yes, they did. Yes, they did with Bring Me to Life. They even had a second song in there called um I Am Mortal or Immortal or no, My Immortal and all that. That was playing that during the funeral that Electra was at for her dad and all that. So yeah, Evanescence, they went hard in there too. Obviously, it was made in 2003. If it were today, he'd be whipped too. Well, probably, but hey, at least we don't get to see it. Rest in peace to Michael Clark Duncan, though. Sad truth, Michael Clark Duncan really had built up a presence for it. And not to mention, yeah, and just in my video too, that I made today. Well, I made it earlier, but I just posted it today. But Michael Clark Duncan, like, yeah, they were like saying, "Oh, he's too skinny." He's like, "Oh, 300 pounds." I'm like, 300 pounds? I mean, look, anything to me above 200 is a little bit too big for me. But 300, it's hard for me to imagine somebody can go up to 400 and all that other stuff. MCU was sorry, I'm talking a lot. Was chosen because they couldn't fight a big white guy, so they got a big black guy. His Kingpin felt like a generic black gangster. I mean, Kingpin did grow up in the hood too, just like Daredevil and everything. I mean, yeah, I know Kingpin's supposed to be white. They did not grab Kingpin or weren't like, oh, because he's black and all that stuff or whatever. They even said it on the thing. They were like, well, we know Kingpin's supposed to be a white guy and all that stuff, but we really kind of just wanted to like capture the spirit of the character and stuff than just try to like go from tick from tack. And sometimes when it comes to adaptations and stuff, you're not going to be able to adapt everything to one to one. You know what I mean? So it's like it is what it is. I hated this bullseye. I'm sorry. The skin bullseye on the head and the rattlesnake sounds when it moves the jacket. To be honest with you, I completely ignored the rattlesnake sounds. I never even thought about it too much. I always kind of thought of it more as bats, but yeah, yeah, it's sort of like a rattlesnake. The branding thing though, that was kind of cool though. And the jacket, bro. Yeah. It's a better outfit than whatever the hell that Netflix bullseye had. I'm just being honest and stuff. And I'm not talking about with the Daredevil costume. But yeah. And not to mention they did that branding thing too in the comics. So yeah. I mean, because of the movie, but still. The hip hop music that played when Black Kingpin was first shown. Dun, 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 dun. I'm an outlaw. Dun, 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 dun. And yeah, be honest, Jonah, you secretly like Catwoman. You know what, SSJ? Funny thing I remember when I was younger, actually. I mean, when I saw Catwoman, yeah, because I saw it in theaters and I saw it with my mom and her boyfriend at the time and stuff. And I'm pretty sure behind my back, they were probably being like, wow, that was a terrible movie. But I was like, at the time, I was like, what, six or something? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm appreciative that I saw it, I guess. So I was like, yeah, I guess it was okay. I was like, yeah, I liked it. And then my aunt was like talking to my mom and stuff about it. And my aunt was like, yeah, he probably just liked it because of the girl, didn't he? Because of Halle Berry. Yeah, I probably did. I probably did. Did you like the Ghost Rider movie? That was my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, El Conque, I've never seen any of the Ghost Rider movies and stuff. I'm serious. Even to this day, I've never seen any of the Ghost Rider movies. I love the Ghost Rider film. I need to watch it, but I never watched it. Like yeah, I know it's not like really that good to be honest, and it might be mid or whatever, but I've never really watched any of the Ghost Rider movies. Evanescence, Fallen Album is an American icon. Yeah. Born Again, Daredevil Bullseye was DS, or I guess it means BS. He wasn't bad Conke, just underutilized. We didn't even get a suit of him doing anything until the plot needed, and so it's not his fault. Okay. Bullseye and the Daredevil BA looks like a lame Power Ranger. Oh, and Born Again, my bad. Yeah, yeah, he does. Like he does. I'm like, even that fight and stuff that they had at the beginning. I'm like, come on. People were saying this fight is better than the fights that he had with Daredevil inside that 2003 movie. Not a chance. Not a chance. I'm like, bro, they did that. Okay, because they were even saying this in Elektra too. That in that Elektra movie that people all of a sudden hate and stuff. Look, in that Elektra movie, um, I think Jennifer Gardner was saying that, yeah, we could do that whole silhouette shadow thing or whatever, and we could get our own stunt actors to like do our stunts or martial arts and stuff for us. But no, it was us going tick from tack because Jennifer Gardner, she does her own stunts and all that. And so did Will Young, what is that man's name? Will Young Lee. Yeah, Will Young Lee. The he was the antagonist, and funny enough, he was also in The Wolverine too as that Archer guy. But anyways, yeah, like him and Jennifer Gardner, they were actually going and stuff. You know what I mean? They didn't use no shadows, no effects or anything. That's exactly what they did in Born Again, where Bullseye is like throwing random shit at people and silhouettes and stuff. I can barely see anything that's going on, flashes and stuff. I'm like, what is this? This is not better than that fight that Bullseye and Daredevil had in that church, or let alone that fight that they had on the streets and stuff. Where I think what was it? Rob Zombie from Drowning Pool was like cha 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 Daredevil cha 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 Daredevil. But yeah, nah, not even close. Ghost Rider is my favorite superhero of all time. They need to do something with Ghost Rider, man. It's been a hot ass minute since they've done anything with Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider definitely used to be like one of those Marvel characters and stuff where, yeah, he was definitely something back then. Yeah, that first Ghost Rider was good. I recommend the video game too. Plays Devil May Cry and Blade. It's unlockable. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Ghost Rider is also underutilized. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is definitely underutilized, man. Um, yeah, we need another movie or show. He had planned one on Hulu, but it was canceled. I remember years ago, Ghost Rider was on Agents of Shield, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think they did anything with him in that. So he is sort of canonically in the MCU, but they just haven't really gotten around to doing anything with him yet. So yep, love the old school Johnny Pool. They suck now. I haven't really heard anything from them now, to be honest. But yeah, uh, all right. I guess I can show you guys some of my own stuff, some of my own original characters and all that stuff. I know this is a dumb question, but what you want in Akin as Blade or Wesley? Oh, I guess you mean don't look at me. I almost said Andy Shankar. Mahershala Ali, you mean as Blade, or would I want Wesley Snipes to come back as Blade? He's too old, or Mahershala Ali continue as Blade. So, Nerd Culture. So, I remember Nerd Culture showed up on 4KO's live stream because he had posted about it and stuff that he showed up on there. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a funny ass live stream, especially with that guy, T Virus Terrence and stuff. That put me on to T Virus Terrence. I was like, oh shit. But I mean, and I remember they were having this conversation too. And to be honest with you, I mean, I wouldn't mind both, honestly. I mean, Wesley Snipes, I mean, say what you will, but he was actually putting up some like doing some good action scenes inside Deadpool and Wolverine. So if they really gave him like one more movie or stuff like that inside Blade, I wouldn't really mind it and stuff. Um or you can cast Wesley Snipes as like a different character, kind of like what Tia Virus Terrence was saying, cast him as like another character that's like adjacent to Blade, like a mentor like Jabbar, like what was this man's name that he said? Jabari or something like that. That Wesley Snipes can play. I think that would be probably cool and all that stuff for like, yeah. Um, I don't know about Mahershala Ali would be a good fit and stuff. He's a good actor and stuff because I saw him on Luke Cage and stuff. He was good as Cottonmouth. I was like, oh shit, he's playing the hell as being a villain. But I would kind of prefer like a black guy that can do some martial arts and stuff and can do his own stunts. You know what I mean? Like he don't gotta be like the best. Like he don't gotta be like an A-list actor or something like that. But like somebody that can at least do the some stuff between like Blade where he's just kicking ass and stuff. Bro, stop asking about Akon as Blade. He's not even an actor, he's a singer. Oh, Shaq isn't an actor. Ice Cube isn't an actor. LeBron James is an actor. Well, I mean, Ice Cube technically is an actor though, but okay. It's just a random choice. Keep it. I can't believe people. Well, oh no, no, hell no, hell no, hell no. But yeah, yeah, Ice Cube. Yeah, Ice Cube's an actor. I mean, he's had movies and hell, his own movies too. Friday. Um, wasn't he not on Anaconda as one of the main characters and stuff? Are we there yet? Yeah, Ice Cube. He's an actor and stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he started out as like what a rapper, but yeah, became an actor and stuff. So did like Will Smith. I know I was joking about. Okay, okay. Ew. Hell no. Hell no. Nope. Especially not as fucking Miles. Hell no. But yeah. So, anyways, let me show you some of my own original characters and stuff because I also wanted to share with you guys a little bit some thoughts or some tips about creativity and how that works. So this is kind of like a little bit of my lore Bible and stuff that I have going on. Well, this is actually from like last year, actually, as you can see by the date. This is from February 25th, 2024. This is my character. Originally, I had named her Saya, but I renamed her Spice after a while because I kind of was like, well, yeah, and she's also an elf girl too. And I was like, because I wanted an elf girl because I was kind of like getting some inspiration because I was reading this novel called How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. It's an anime series, it's an isekai, it's got a manga and stuff, and I've been reading the novels and everything. And there's a character on there named Shara, and she's an elf girl and stuff. And I was like, you know what? What if I created my own kind of elf girl? Because how can you not? So basically, this is Saya right here and all that, or Spice, my bad. But originally I used to call her Saya, and she used to wear this orange leotard. So let me go further more into my thing. That was 80s, but he started acting in the 90s. Yeah, yeah, like he was rapping in the 80s and stuff, or whatever. But yeah, yeah, the Friday movies and all that stuff, that was like in the 90s, man. And Anaconda and all that. Yeah. Oh, I remember her. Yeah. I'm not sure if you saw her, Dr. Hino, or you might well, you seen well, I'll talk about that another time. I think if they don't do Blade now, pack it up and we can't. Man, I don't. This is why I keep saying they keep disrespecting, especially black superheroes and stuff, because Blade was also supposed to be getting a video game too, and now I'm hearing something about that's being delayed to 2027. I'm like, stop bullshitting me with this, man. It's like, yeah, I saw her. I remember that outfit and those legs. Yep, you know, Doctor. Anyways, this was gonna be her dad. Originally, apparently, I named him King Sheraton Sagittarius, but I kind of went back on that. I picked a different name now where I'm actually naming him King Celsius, but I'll probably show his later on look later. Anyways, let's see. So I had this idea of this is supposed to be like what, a village or something? Let's see. Housing, say it lives in the city. Okay, so this is supposed to be like a certain district and all that stuff. So sometimes when you're like drawing out backgrounds and stuff, or you're drawing like houses and stuff. Because actually you learned this from this Steven Universe art book because I used to be a huge Steven Universe fan, and I got the Steven Universe art book and stuff. It costs a lot now, actually, but in there, Rebecca Sugar, the creator of Steven Universe and stuff, she has a younger brother named Steven Universe that used to like he used to work on like of course the show, but he did the backgrounds and stuff, and he was explaining in the art book about his thought process and stuff and how he makes backgrounds and stuff. And sometimes, in order to make backgrounds, you got to make a blueprint first to something, and then bam, there you go. Do you remember Code Lyoko? Yes, Code Lyoko. That was a good ass show back then. Yeah, I remember when that was coming out. It's a French animated show that looks like an anime. It came out. Yes, yes, it does. It was awesome, though. I was supposed to draw like a statue here, but I never really got around to that. Apparently, did I? But this is supposed to be where my main character was going to be staying at in these dorms and stuff. But maybe I might have backpedaled on it. And originally, I was going to call it Elf Fatale or whatever, since she's the main character and she's an elf. But I kind of renamed it. I can't speak. I renamed it something else though. But anyways, this is my Oni character, Erica. Kolioko was good. Hang on. I love Kolioko. I'm rewatching it now. Oh, nice. Probably, I need to watch that Kolioko Evolution. I know it's probably not that good, but that live action one. But anyways, this is my character, Erica. Now, this is her prototype, okay? Where I was like, what kind of hairstyle do I want her to have? So I was kind of going for something like with the April O'Neil look from like the Archie comics and stuff. But I was like, you know what? I might save that for another time and stuff because I was, I'm a huge like I was like, because earlier as we talked about Rumiko Takahashi, um, I was saying how I watched Yuri Say Yatsura and I wanted to make an Oni girl and stuff because how can you not have an Oni girl, right? So I kind of was like, all right, all right. So let me take some inspiration from like Lum and a few other characters and stuff like Eri and so on and so forth. And here's some of the hairstyles that I came up with and all that. This is kind of like based off of like Nezuko from Demon Slayer and Eri from My Hero Academia. And then this is like based off of Felicia from Darkstalkers. I know Felicia's not an Oni girl; she's a cat girl, but still, you know. Let's see. And then this became my final design of Erica, my main character and stuff. You'll definitely see the color later. Thanks, I appreciate it, SSJ. You'll definitely see the color later when I get to the character, but this is just the sketch and the bio and all that stuff. So like Erica Arashi, because well, she's an Oni and stuff, and Onis they're more so a Japanese folklore. So well, Erica is not really whatchamacallit, not really a Japanese name, but because I based her a little bit off of Eri from My Hero Academia, I was like, well, why not name her Erica? So there you go. And then Arashi means storm in Japanese and stuff, and I kind of got that from GI Joe because of Storm Shadow, which, in case you don't know, Storm Shadow's full name is Tommy Arashikage because he comes from the Arashikage clan. And funny enough, Arashikage means Storm Shadow. So literally, Storm Shadow's name is it. It is Storm Shadow. It's just that in Japanese is Arashikage. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I just went with Erika Arashi and stuff. So these are like, her bio and all that stuff. So I based her off of all these characters that I listed, like Lum, Miyu Ferengi that I said earlier, Lum's friend Ron, Felicia, Eri, Storm Shadow, a little bit from G.I. Joe, so on and so forth. So here's some notes. I'll probably come back to that later. And then here's some coloring. Finally, this is a design idea I had for my character at the time, Seiya, but now Spice and stuff. This is probably actually around my 25th birthday, actually. And then this is my Lamia character and stuff. Her name is Serena, but we'll get more into her later. So this is more stuff about Seiya and more stuff about Erica. And then this is where I kind of realized what I can kind of do with this design. Because I kind of was like, this is originally supposed to be like bed hair and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? Why not make that her actual hair? Like, how it normally looks and stuff. And I was taking some inspiration from Hinata's hairstyle too, from like Naruto Shippuden with the square cuts and stuff. But I think I kind of just went back on that. And then I kind of gave her the hat later on, but you'll see when I get to it. Random, but do you have any Pokemon drawings? No, no, I do not. Not on me, but there are some stuff on my Instagram actually. SSJ. I might actually share it with you later if you're interested. But yeah, nah, it's not on my drawing account for my Instagram account, but it's on my base account. Actually, yeah, but I do have some Pokemon drawings though. Not recently though, but yeah. And it's funny you say that because I'm wearing a Pikachu shirt too at that, you know? The irony. The irony. Jonah, which characters of mine would be a best fit for your verse? I don't know. Um I don't know why I want to say your succubus character or something like that. Not the not the shepherd, not the shepherd girl, but the succubus one that I think you've been having in your profile pic. I think you had last week or something. Yeah, possibly, maybe her. I don't know, but yeah. So basically, I kind of wanted to make a bit of a monster girl kind of story ish kind of thing. But of course, I don't want to make it a complete just chick fest and stuff. I'll explain it a little bit more as I go along. But I wanted to also make some strong male characters and stuff as well. I mean, because come on, we're gonna need some more strong male characters and stuff to represent. MCU needs a 3D again. Rest the devil girl. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna probably need like a. But anyways, so then this is my ninja character and stuff. I think this is probably after the fact that like I'm not sure if you guys have heard me rant about this, but how I was pissed off with like Sophie Campbell and how she treated not only the Ninja Turtles but Leonardo, especially Leonardo, from when she made like Leo, like basically there was a scene from Sophie Campbell's run where Leo was crying and shit because his surrogate daughter got turned back into a human or whatever. It's a long story. And I was just like annoyed and I'm like, oh my god, why are you fucking emasculating Leo like this? and Leo is the whole thing. So I was like, all right, well, if I can't have Leo, I could just make my own. So that's what I did here. Yeah, the MCU killed the MCU. Yep. And then this is more stuff of Seiya and stuff where I was kind of like, went for outfit a little bit. And elves, usually elves are like normally archers and stuff, or they normally fight with swords and weapons and stuff like that. So yeah, I figure, you know what? Of course, the bow and arrow is her main weapon and all that stuff. But I have another idea in mind. And then these are some magic wands. You guys, this is a little bit in touch with my feminine side, but I'm also a bit of a Sailor Moon fan as well. So what you're seeing here are some magic rods and stuff from Sailor Moon and all that stuff because I was trying to get an idea of like making a type of rod or something like that for my character. Um, this is from Naruto. This is Obito's his little staff thing that he had back when he was like a Ten Tails Jinchuriki. This is Madara's little staff thing. And then this, I'm pretty sure that's Sorceress's staff from He-Man, from the Castle Grayskull, and that's Skeletor's. Because, of course, since I'm working with magic and all that stuff, you're gonna need like special kind of conduit wands and stuff like that, or staffs or whatever. It's kind of like a stylistic kind of thing. So I was kind of experimenting with that here, but you know, agree they need to reboot the MCU. I didn't love Sailor Moon, but I love Kim Possible and Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, I didn't really watch Sailor Moon like that per se growing up, but as like when I was like kind of a teenager ish, that's where I kind of got into like Sailor Moon and all that. Or when I was like starting to kind of come into young adulthood, this is kind of my slime girl and stuff. Aquarius. I might kind of retool her a little bit, but yeah. And then this is supposed to be my harpy character and stuff. Also trying to like she's on the shelf right now. Her name is Jurassic. I'm trying to figure out what I can do with that character, but yeah. But yeah, and then this is a full color version of Jurassic and stuff. Yeah. It just came to me like Jurassic and stuff. I mean, her nickname could be like Jury or something like that. Like Jerry Han, but yeah, but Jurassic, you like, you know what I mean? Because that was, I think, the era for like dinosaurs and stuff when birds came in. I mean, really, it just hit me, and then I looked it up later, and I was like, "Ha, that fits perfectly." So yeah, and then this is my character that I was saying that's based off of Leo and stuff, and then the other guy too is Jin, that's also like based off of him too, because I kind of wanted a cool ass like ninja master type of character and stuff. But he's sort of on the shelf, but I might just bring him back. And oh yeah, speaking of which, Leonardo's hairstyle back when he was because in the IDW comics, in case you guys don't know, Leo was actually a human in his past life. Him and his brothers were like humans and stuff, but we never really got their names when they were humans and all that stuff, right? And they were killed off by Shredder and all that stuff. But this is the hairstyle that Leo had, and that's the hairstyle I went with for this character, my character Koji, and all that. And yes, he will have other brothers too, that are going to be based off the Ninja Turtles because I want my Ninja Turtles back, man. Powerpuff Girls was amazing. I mean, some people mock Leo being feminine. I think it's mostly from the 2003 series where writers put Forced EMO season 4, which is the worst arc in the TMNT shows, in my opinion. I don't know about that. I don't think they ever put any like feminine stuff. Leo, they might have had some jokes here and there. Like I can kind of think with the 2012, my favorite version. Um, I know that one scene where Leo was having that little tea party with that one girl and stuff. That shit was kind of funny to me, though. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, that was a train that was, I guess, passing by. And then this is more shots of my own character and stuff. Serena, or yeah, or not Serena. My bad. Seiya, which I was still calling her and stuff, where she was having a green outfit because I was kind of going for like a Link look and stuff because of Legends of Zelda and all that. Because she's also based like because I like to kind of take inspiration from other characters and stuff. Like if I'm not mistaken, they're Kokori, but pretty much they got the pointy ears just like the elves and everything, and like Link he lives in the forest and all that stuff and blah blah blah, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is what she wore or what she was wearing and stuff, and this is kind of what I kind of go with now actually. And then more shots of Erica, some fun drawings of my character and stuff. Yep. And I think that's the first time I drew. No, that's not the first time I coded her in red, but I coded her in later. More characters in my Lamia. This is when she was supposed to be like a little girl. This is originally supposed to be my character, Saya, her sister, her older sister, but I kind of backpedaled on that for now, anyways. Reminds me of a female Link. Yeah, exactly. That was my aim, as well as like more of an archer and all that stuff. And he's like, got the swords and stuff. Do I like Mario? Yeah, I do like Mario. I'm not huge or I'm not crazy about Mario like that because, I'm more into like story driven type stuff, which funny enough, I've been kind of getting back into like Mega Man and stuff. Not the original Mega Man, even though the original Mega Man is all right. But I've been playing because I've had this game for a hot ass minute, but I've had the Mega Man Zero collection for a while, and I need to beat all the games on there, and I only have two left, and that's the ZX collection, which is Mega Man ZX1 and Mega Man ZX2. And currently, I am playing ZX1 and stuff, and I'm actually getting better at it. I'm getting better at it than I thought, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, but no, Mario, he's all right. And then this is supposed to be my Scala character. She was supposed to be like a mentor to my character Serena over there, but I might like for right now, she's a little bit on the shelf for now, where I'm not gonna really do too much. But yeah, and then this is a shot of my character, Serena again and stuff. This is a little more official for like silver hair and everything. Her outfit, yeah. Mario's overrated, but I do love the same. Uh, Mario Kart. I'm not gonna lie, SSJ Mario is not only overrated but overpriced. That's my problem. I'm like Jesus Christ, like good God. I'm like because I remember when I was a kid and stuff. Like I don't like. Well, I had a lot of Mario. I had some Mario games when I was when I was like in elementary school. But as I gotten older, stuff I was like wanted some Mario games to kind of go down in price, and obviously they never went down in price, so that always kind of sucked and stuff. Especially like Mario Kart. Like I've never owned Mario Kart before, but I've played Mario Kart and stuff with friends and stuff because of thanks to DS download and all that. But yeah, or consoles, like yeah, like the Switch or the Wii and stuff. But yeah, and then this is my character Erica and stuff. As you can see, um, I don't have a foot thing or whatever. I'm just saying all Nintendo games are overpriced, not just Mario. Pokemon games, yeah, yeah. And I know, yeah, you're kind of a Pokemon fan too. But yeah, 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 definitely Nintendo games in general. But you see why I don't really get Mario like that and stuff. Well, that and then on top of that, like I said, I'm more of a story kind of guy too. And on top of that, I'm also a Sonic fan. So yeah. Then there's my character Koji again and Jurassic and stuff, him carrying her just because. But yeah. And then this is a full shot of that friend group of what I had so far of those characters at the time. So yep, that's them right there. But almost never go on sale. However, the Switch to Mario Kart sometimes they don't sell half off lately. Huh. Interesting. No, I mean, because I just remember, I did buy my cousin a Switch years ago, actually. Um, but it was from a retro store and all that. And I think it might have been pre-owned or whatever, but still, it wasn't like yeah, it didn't cost a lot. Yeah, the consoles are something, but the games itself though be like, bro, whew, yeah. But yeah, more notes and stuff. It's always great to take notes about your characters and all that to kind of better understand them and all that. But yeah, hang on. That's valid. Nice female design with the blue dress. Thanks. Appreciate it. Blue dress. Hang on. Yeah, that's not a dress. But yeah. And then this is my character. Again, my same character, Serena and stuff. Serena, this is her wearing a kimono. I was gonna make her into like some kind of like assassin type character or a child assassin, but I kind of backpedaled on that idea. And on top of that, I don't want her like because I'm a huge like I'm into ninjas obviously, but I don't want to make her into a ninja or anything like that or some kind of assassin or whatever. Um, I kind of turned her later on. Like currently, she's a psychic, which is what I'm gonna go with. And I don't wanna focus on, like because I know, like, as far as, like, lamias and snake women go, inside, like, folklore, you have, wet women that come from Japanese folklore, where wet women are like, "Oh," they're like, "Oh, this, woman that's, like, snake-like or whatever." That's in Japanese folklore, but lamias and stuff or echidnas, they come more so from Greek. So I kind of wanted to emphasize the Greek aspect of my character Serena and stuff. So that's what she is supposed to be. So I didn't really commit to this kimono thing though, but I could probably use it for another character. This is supposed to be her mom that I was gonna make for my Serena character, where she was actually gonna be like this cutthroat assassin named Leviathan. But I kind of also just backpedal on that too, but I'm still gonna like see what I can do with that, and of course I can always like turn that into a different type of character or something, because I'm a little bit flaky on my character's origin for right now for Serena, and then this is supposed to be like again the sister of my character Seiya and all that. So yeah, let's see. And I had an idea because, well, you can probably blame Monster Mizune and Monster Girl Doctor for this, but I was gonna make a centaur girl named Noelle and all that. But yeah, and she was gonna like take in and train this girl Jury. So I'm kind of ripping off a little bit of Monster Girl Doctor. If you read the novels, you kind of know. But yeah. And then this is actually the full coloring of my character Spice and stuff. Yep, that's right, Spice. As you can see right here, I went from Saya and renamed her into Spice and all that. Yep. Took me a while to come up with a name, but I was like, what would be an appropriate name for a girl? Because I wanted her to use like to have fire powers and stuff. Because you know how like Link does that little spinning thing where he like does the fire and all that. Yeah, I kind of wanted that sort of kind of be a little bit of her power set where she can like shoot like flaming arrows and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, well, if she manipulates fire, what exactly could her name be? Because Seiya is a Japanese name and Japanese like and on top of that, it's a male's name too. So it's kind of like, oh, well, that's weird. And on top of that, for a Japanese person and stuff, like elves aren't really related to Japanese. That's more of a Western thing. So I kind of went back and I was like, well, what can I do with this? So I was like, all right, why not spice? Because I kind of like to go with like um unique sounding kind of names that just roll off the tongue. That's how I always think with like names and stuff. Sometimes when you like design a character and stuff, and you look at them, you just be like, man, what would that character's name be? So yeah, I just went with Spice. Mario Kart, uh, FN, Minecraft, Pokemon, Angry Birds, Fallout Classics. Uh, I wish I saw somebody else would bring back Spyro. Oof, Spyro, that's an old one right there. Legend of Spyro trilogy showed it had potential for a huge franchise. You should draw a Crash Bandicoot. I've actually been playing Crash Bandicoot 2 actually a few weeks ago, but then I got hooked on Mega Man ZX, so I'm committed more to beating that. I love Spyro, it needs to come back. Yeah, Spyro was a cool character. Crash Bandicoot was cool. Which is better, Ninja, Samurai, or Ronin? That's just you know where I'm gonna stand on that one. I'm always gonna stand with a ninja on that one. I did like samurais when I was younger too, but I'm gonna go with ninja. Monster Mizune. Yep, Doctor Hino. But anyways, let me continue, and then that's the end of this Lord Bible right here, as you can see, and that's the final thing of my character, spice and stuff. So I went from this transition from this character Seiya all the way up until Spice and stuff. Spice Fahrenheit is her full name and stuff. Yeah, like I said, I like unique sounding names and I want it to be something that really like kind of strikes and stuff. So I was like, yeah, Spice Fahrenheit. And her dad's name is Celsius Fahrenheit or King Celsius. So yeah, and then this is my current lore Bible, what I have for right now and all that. I started this back in December 20th, 2024. Um, I kind of wanted to get into the habit of painting backgrounds and stuff, which I have not really done at all in this book. But this is supposed to be like a moonlight kind of setting. Then you got Erica right here. Yeah, I like ninjas too. Tenchia made me love ninjas growing up. Yeah, you know, for me it was Naruto and Ninja Turtles and all that, but a bunch of other stuff. I mean, there was a time where I resented ninjas and all that, where I was like, "Oh, that's just generic." But then, well, I was like, but back when I was a teenager, I got hooked back on ninjas and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm also a little bit secretive and shady a little bit. I'm good at like kind of sneaking up on people like that. No joke. Do I like the Sonic X anime? Of course. I'm a huge Sonic fan. But yeah, a little more notes and stuff. Me talking about my characters. Some sketches and stuff of my character Erica. So for Erica, since she's an Oni and stuff, I kind of and I've been studying Japanese culture a little bit because I've been trying to like study how to like learn Japanese because I got this book about how to like about yeah, it's like it's a children's book, but it's also like, but sometimes I feel like a children's book is a good way to start out with learning certain things, especially like a whole different language. So I learned some interesting things about Japanese culture and stuff like, the Japanese's favorite sports over there is usually stuff like baseball or something like sumo wrestling and stuff. Japanese people also like taking a lot of like baths and stuff like that. So you also have that right there. Um, and then on top of that, Japanese people are like very backwards and stuff compared to our standards over here in America, where um yeah, like we live in the West, but they live in the East. So what we do over here, like driving and stuff like that or whatever, on the right side of the road and stuff, they drive on the left side of the road. You know what I mean? So I decided, you know what? Why not make my character left-handed? So she's a little bit left-handed, just like me and stuff. But it'll probably be a little bit more appropriate to keep most of your characters like right-handed since that's the norm, and maybe a few characters like left-handed and stuff. And this is coming from somebody that is left-handed. See more notes, more characters in my character, Serena. Well, this isn't anyone in particular. I was kind of trying to make a character that was going to be based off of like Natsu, Dragon Needle from Fairy Tale, but I haven't really like gotten around to like really working on them yet. More of Serena and stuff. This is supposed to be like kind of a UFC kind of thing. This is my character Goosebumps actually. Now, this is just his base design and all that stuff. He might have like some ice armor and stuff later, but he's supposed to be like a villain and all that stuff, like a kind of like a one-off kind of villain. But I was kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, so if Serena were to go up against somebody, right? Because sometimes when you like make characters and stuff, you gotta also like keep in mind their weaknesses and all that. And my character Serena, which I named Serena, I haven't said this already, but I named her Serena, kind of like Siren. So you get Serena. There you go. But anyways, Serena's a Lamia and stuff, right? And Lamias, they don't do well under cold because they're cold blooded, like snakes. So I kind of thought to myself, like with my character Goosebumps, or what if she fought like somebody that had the power to manipulate ice and stuff? How would she be able to get through that? And on top of that, she's a psychic, so she's got focus too. So ice powers can really complicate that kind of thing. So it is what it is. I was supposed to be making a character that was supposed to have fear manipulation and stuff, but I never really got around to it just yet. I need to work on that. But I was thinking like he might be based off like Scarecrow or something from Batman. That could have been cool. But yeah. But I got some other ideas too. That's cool. You study your lore too. My brother and I have been looking a lot into Japan lore lately. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Like, because I mean, I talk a big game about Japan and stuff and how much I like it. And if I want to kind of watch anime and stuff like that, sub, um, it's best that I understand it. So I think I do understand the basics, not of how to speak Japanese, not about how to speak it, but at least the basic as like, oh, that's their norm or that's their custom and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Dr. Hino, you might have saw this before actually once. Uh, my year of the snake, I mean my year of the snake drawing and stuff that I did for this year and all that. Because this year is the year of the snake. Last year, you remember my stream where I did the year of the dragon and all that stuff, and I did those drawings of those dragon girls and stuff. Yeah. And then the year before that was the year of the rabbit, which is my year. So yeah. Then this is my character Spice working at some kind of bar and stuff in a maid outfit just because. But yeah. All right, let's see. This is probably me writing some stories and stuff, ideas to kind of get a generalization of my character and stuff. This is probably her going up against that ice related character Goosebumps. Yeah, I chose the name Goosebumps. I was kind of thinking, should I really save that for my fear based character or should I save that for my now? I know I showed this to some people. Like I should, I'm pretty sure SSJ and Dr. Kino, you guys seen the official like thing before. I can't show it to you now because it's digital, but I did a digital drawing of like my characters and stuff, and this like Final Fantasy 7 kind of thing, and I put it on like Discord and all that. So yeah. And then speaking about masculinity, I gotta get some masculinity up in here. So I had to so I created a male character and stuff who's like this martial artist and everything. He's kind of based off of Kensei Ma from Kenichi, as I was talking about Kenichi earlier and stuff. And also a little bit of Ramna Saotomi as well. Where yeah, he's got the ponytail and stuff too, the little pigtail that Ramna got. Yeah, this guy got that too. And I gave him a hat, kind of just like Kensei and all that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, man, what would be a perfect name for him? And I'm like, oh, okay, why not call him Crane and stuff, you know? Um, I don't know, just random Chinese type of thing. I was like, all right, Crane, that sounds cool. Oh yeah, I remember. Good stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like how it turned out in color, like colored and everything in the Metal Gear Solid thing. Yeah, that was awesome and stuff. I can't show it to you now because, like I said, that's on my computer. And more stuff with my character Spice and stuff. I should probably do a better job outlining that, but I mean, yeah, but I mean, it turned out great. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I could probably like ink the outlines and stuff. This is Crane fully colored. He's got the red hair just like Ramna, as you can see, and all that stuff. Yeah. Let's see, list of my characters so far. Erica's background. Okay. So as much as I love siblings and stuff like that, and as much as I like, I try to like put a limit to like which characters can have siblings and which characters cannot and stuff like that. So originally I wasn't gonna have my character Erica be I wasn't gonna have her have any siblings at all, and she was gonna be like an only child and stuff. And she was actually gonna be like this princess and stuff because my character Spice, she's a princess and all that. She's an elf princess and stuff, right? And I was like, okay, well, why not have her be like this elf princess and blah 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 and whatever. And Erica was going to be like also a princess too, and they both become adventurers and stuff together. Then I kind of thought, well, Erica needs some like needs her own agency and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, all right, well, how about I take away the whatchamacallit? I take away like her being a princess and just make her an oni that just moved to like the west or whatever, along with her grandpa and her brother and stuff. And this goes back to Rumiko Takahashi because since I kind of wanted this character since I based Erica off of Lum, and as you know, Lum has a younger cousin that she takes care of named Ten and stuff. I kind of made this character named Enma that's based off of Ten. And yeah, if you know your Dragon Ball Z stuff, SSJ, you know that I kind of got that idea, the name Enma from King Yama or Yu Yu Hakusho King Yama. I was like, you know what? That would be a perfect name for like a boy, for like a male, like a boy Oni or something. So yeah, so he's based off of Ten, Ogremon from Digimon since I was, watching Digimon, and Oni, Oni Akuma from Street Fighter. Those are the three characters that he's really based off of. But I got the name from, King Yama and King Yama. Rama is cool, one of my favorite anime characters. Yeah, yeah, it's one of my favorite martial arts animes too. And Ramna, yeah, he's an awesome character. It's funny as hell, bro. How the hell is Ramna fucking Oh my god, Rumiko Takahashi and the whole traps and stuff, bro, with Ramna, man. Like, yeah, but we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. If I say something I probably can't even take back. Yeah, King Yama from Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, yeah, you know. He's not based off of them, but I just got the name from them though, because he's not an Oni, but he's kind of like Oni like ish, I guess. But yeah, so I thought that'd be perfect. Now this guy. Now I kind of wanted like a villain that was gonna be like Bane. Yeah, you can see I'm taking a lot of inspiration from some Batman villains. Um, I'm glad to retool him a little bit because I'm like, well, he's a little generic and stuff, and I'm like, well, what exactly threat can he pose? So I'm gonna change that around. I have an idea where I was gonna make him like this type of Shiva kind of character where he's got like 4 arms and shit or whatever. But I'll work on that later. But basically, this guy was gonna be based off of Bane and stuff. He was gonna like, yeah, because I wanted a character that was like intelligent and also super strong, just like Bane and stuff. Because Bane don't really get a lot of spotlight like that. You know what I mean? Because I was like online and stuff, and I was like, man, Bane doesn't really have too many comics where he fights Batman like that too much. So I'm like, man, what if I had my own kind of character like that? So or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah. So he's definitely based off of Bane and a little bit of Bluto as well from Popeye and the Undertaker from WWE just because. But yeah, I like to see your take on Jonin Red and Blue. They're two Oni ninjas from the Chinshu games on PS2. I probably well, it's a good thing I have a PS2. I could probably check that out someday if I ever come across that. Ideas for like common spells used by my sorcerers and stuff or spellcasters in my world because it's a magic based world too. Not all characters can use magic, so of course, like for the sorcerers and stuff, there could be healing magic, fire spells, ice spells, giga spells, wind spells, levitation, light spells, purification, um, which is like basically just purifying, of course, like enhancement spells or barriers and stuff. Those are just the basic level type spells and stuff. And then black magic. I need to work more on this, but for right now, for black magic ideas, I have, and these can be ideas for like villains and stuff. I got like necromancery, so that's like bringing the dead back to life, blood magic and stuff. Manipulating the blood and shit. Curse magic. Well, we'll find out when we get to that. Or hex magic and stuff. I was thinking like Scarlet Witch and stuff because she got hex powers and stuff. So I was like, oh, that could be a dark kind of ability too. I'm really glad I caught this stream. Yeah, I'm glad you caught this too, man. Because I wanted to share off my creativity. Me too. Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. But yeah, um, and yeah, speaking of which, I kind of got this from Slayers too. Actually, Slayers is actually my favorite anime. I know Naruto is also, and I say Naruto is one of my favorite, and it is one of my favorite animes. But my all-time favorite anime is probably Slayers because I don't care which. Yeah, that Slayers can get me to laugh, feel some kind of emotion or whatever, and it's so well designed. I'm not sure if you guys ever seen Slayers, but you guys got to check it out and stuff. And I'm also like I read the novels and stuff too for it. Um, Jesus, is it over there? Oh, snap. Speaking of which, um, for El Conque in the future, yeah, this is what I brought home and stuff. Yeah. I had this case at home, but I had the DVD for the first movie here, the theatrical cut. But the yeah, but this is the bonus disc with the bullseye and stuff, and then Daredevil and all that. Yep. And then yeah, you can see right here. Yep. But yeah, but my Elektra, the Wolverine, uh, discs of X-Men and all that. Yeah, that's around here somewhere. But I'll find that when I get to it. But anyways, but yeah, Slayers, there's sorcerers and stuff, and then they can use like magic and spells and stuff like that too. But yeah. Oh yeah, this is when I was writing that story about my new character Inma, the younger brother of my character Erica and stuff. Because also I needed an E too, so that's why I went with Inma too. But yeah, he was fighting some Wendigos and stuff. Yeah, that's Wolverine and stuff and Hulk. Yeah, So I was kind of thinking I need a mythological animal or some kind of wild creature to fight one of my characters, and it can't just be some random character, like some random like thing that you will find in the woods, like a wolf or a bear or something. I need something a little bit more like tougher, you know. So I was like, all right, well, why not? I don't know, a Wendigo and stuff. So um, that's what I did here, where my character Inma, this he's like 14 and stuff. He's a teenager, but he's fighting off these like Wendigos and stuff, basically. And then this is a shot of Inma and my character Erica and stuff together and stuff, brother and sister and all that. Um, yeah, let's see what else do I got going on. Random thoughts and stuff. I was thinking about this idea, but could probably do something else. But this is just like based off of like mythological stuff or whatever. I was like, all right, well, I can't really be getting all that kind of creative. But yeah, oh yeah, classic Hulk and Wolverine has dealt with them in the past. Yeah, yeah. So that's why I was like, well, why not look into it? And then this is a Winchuge and stuff. I did not write a bio for this thing at all, but I'll work on that later. But this is a Winchuge, which basically a Winchuge is basically the Wendigo's like, well, basically it's big, like its bigger cousin and all that stuff. That's what a Winchuge is. And then my character fights like a Winchuge and gets his ass whooped basically by this thing. Then my character Erica, she shows up, the older sister, and then beats the crap out of the Winchuge and stuff and helps out her brother. So that was my aim there with that. Then simple and just be like, all right, so how can I make this just go south, So that's what I'm working on now, sort of. So as you can see, um, I was gonna have my character Serena because I want her to be like an S class. She's not a sorceress, but well, I was gonna make her a sorceress, and I was actually gonna make her the mentor too to my character Spice, but I kind of backpedaled on that, and I was like, well, she's a psychic, and that can probably just be its own thing, actually, that she just inherited from like her dad's side of the family or something like that. And her mom's a Lamia, so she's like a Lamia too, or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I was gonna have my character Serena. She's an adventurer too, an S class adventurer, and I was like, all right. So if I'm doing a story with her, like a one shot, what exactly would be something that's like, okay, like, oh, worth like an S rank kind of mission? And I was like, okay, well, what if these like rich people got their son kidnapped or whatever by some kind of guy, and they don't have any leads, and the officers are trying to find them and stuff, but they're not, like, there's no luck or whatever and stuff like that, and other adventurers can't find it out. But my character Serena, because she's a Lamia and stuff, and you got to keep in mind Lamias have like additional senses than a human, or like, because they're like snake like. So oh, they can smell with their tongue and stuff like that. They can see like infrared heat signatures and stuff like that. That's not something that a human can do. So I was like, you know what, that can actually work. And then that's how she finds the guy and stuff. And then I was like, but do I really want her to fight some guy that can just turn invisible? Because I kind of gave him this ability, well, not even an ability, but he has this thing where it's called the Helm of Hades and stuff. Because I was looking online and stuff, and I was like, man, what exactly invisibility can like, yeah, like what invisibility? And I know there are some overpowered ass and like characters that can use invisibility and stuff, like Invisible Woman and all that, but I don't want to make them like that broken as Invisible Woman. Hell no. But just like kind of like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. So Helmet Hades, he can manipulate bend light and stuff like that. And I kind of want this to make it like a worthy kind of fight. Like it's like Serena's really got to fight for it to save this kid and stuff, and with like for this mission, because it would be one thing if she like, oh, this guy could just turn invisible and she beats him and stuff. Like that's kind of like, yeah, it's lame. So you got to do a little bit something extra. So right now I'm working on his design, but I need to make a the helmet and stuff. So he's going to be based off of Magneto a little bit from X-Men and Dr. Light from DC Comics. And boy, I know Dr. Light is treated like a joke and stuff, especially how I think they turned Dr. Light into like some kind of rapist or whatever and stuff like that, and they treat that character like crap and stuff. But still, I mean, but just his ability of controlling light and stuff, I think that's pretty interesting. And he's also, and I also found out because of like, ironically, Perseus and stuff. Perseus was a demigod that had slayed Medusa and all that stuff. In the Greek mythology and stuff. So I was like, okay, he can also be a little bit based off of Perseus too. So, and I found that out from the History Channel because I was on YouTube and stuff, and I was like, oh, this actually goes hand in hand, because sometimes, stuff like that just comes to you, or it all kind of like, oh, comes full circle. Is like, you know what? Maybe I could probably utilize that. So that's all I have here for my Lord Bible. As you can see, there's nothing more else to it. But yeah. All right. So let me finish up reading these comments. I know I've been at it for 3 hours and stuff, talking about random stuff and talking about my own stuff and blah blah blah. But yeah, let me read these comments and then I'm about to call it a night because it is 1 o'clock in the goddamn morning. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I already read that. My bad. I never really liked Jimmy Fallon. He's a crybaby. Yeah, so I heard and stuff. He was kind of. I remember he was kind of a little bit big back when I was like a teenager. But sorry, I thought you were talking about Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Fallon. Nah, wasn't even thinking about it. I said I never liked Jimmy Fallon. I thought Invisible Guy could have been used more on The Boys, but they killed him off early. Yeah, Translucent and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, like, I don't have much of an opinion on Translucent like that. Um, I do remember on Discord, I said I had a dream one time about, "Oh, snap, what if, they did something with Translucent Sun or something?" You know what I mean? Um, yeah, 'cause I remember Huey felt guilty about, like, about Translucent Sun and everything, and his family. Is like, "Man, I killed that guy." And he had a family and everything, yeah. They turned Dr. Light into a woman on the CW Flash, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I'm not sure about that specifically because there's 2 Dr. Lights. There's a male Dr. Light, that's the villain that we know from, like, Teen Titans and all that stuff, and then there is actually a female Dr. Light from the comics and stuff. I remember seeing her in the background in Justice League, but yeah, she's a Japanese woman and stuff. She's actually a hero, but the Doctor Light, yeah, we know that's a villain that's like from Teen Titans and the Justice League and all that. Yeah, that like touched the elongated man's wife, Sue Dipney, and I think he killed her too or something like that. Yeah, it was a whole weird thing. I don't think a lot of fans like that Justice League storyline. Identity crisis. It was stupid and trying to be some fake ass Alan Moore type stuff. But yeah, but that's all I gotta say here, and all that stuff. I really appreciate you guys coming out here and checking out little old me and my channel and stuff. Or staying up pretty late and stuff. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I know I was like kind of burnt out. Well, not burnt out, but even right now, I've been talking a hot ass minute, reading all these comments and stuff because I know it's been a long time since I've done a live stream. I'm doing one technically today, but or tomorrow night and stuff, talking about Superman and all that stuff. I'll probably have more of a script ready and stuff. But this is just random talks and stuff, and just me wanting to share stuff. I didn't obviously, I didn't have any drawings and stuff where I didn't, excuse me, like I wanted to per se because, well, I didn't know what to really draw. I had some idea, but that could be for another time. But anyways, I appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate SSJ, Alconque, Dr. Hino, Taylor, etc. Ashes, yeah, Stephen Pizzello, all of them. Okay, yeah, thanks guys. But anyways, and if you guys feeling generous, there's always the Cash App right there. But yeah. But anyways, this is the John Lowe Fox and I'm out. Peace, and until we meet again.